All right, welcome everybody. It's a historic day. This is the day of the annual shareholder meeting. We're going to try to see if we can get a sneak peek what's happening right now that's happening there. We'll have somebody who's there to dial in. In the meantime, we've got the big gang here. We've got, let's see, here we go. We've got Jan and Brian White and Robin from Michigan right now. You got Bradford Ferguson and you got CERN. And we also have Larry Goldberg joining us. We will be showing you actually what's happening. We'll play on the screen here later the actual annual shareholder event as they stream it, which I think is going to start in 30 minutes from now. In the meantime, let's start off with the big news that last night Elon Musk shared this. Both Tesla shareholder resolutions are currently passing by wide margins. Thank you for your support. You can see this table that he shared, this graph, and it shows that the 4 votes, which is in blue, skyrocketed compared to the against, which is in gray. And I think this is a guaranteed win if it passes through that line there. And you can see that at the last few days, it's the 4 votes went up. This is millions of votes. That's for the 4 vote for the 2018 compensation plan. And this is the same thing, but this time for the Texas vote. And you see that the guaranteed win is much higher because even the people who abstain is considered to be a no. But even this one looks like that is passed. So the group is just incredibly happy. We are just through the roof excited. So let's get started going down the group here. I haven't spoken to you guys. Let's start with you guys, Jan and Brian and Robin. Tell us how you're feeling about all this. Can't hear you.
Yeah. No. Okay. No. It's so exciting. I was just sure that the back pay measure would pass. It's back pay. It's the right thing to do. Man up and be responsible. And all the people we were seeing who were saying it's not going to pass. There were surveys posted on Yahoo Finance saying, do you support it? And it was 96% did not support it. Those aren't shareholders. Those aren't people who get to vote in the first place. And I think it was, I want to say that it was Bradford who first called it, that the back pay is gonna pass. Now, I did not think that the relocation stood as strong a chance. I wasn't convinced that Tesla had made a sufficient case to convince the institutional investors, but apparently they did. The retail shareholders, I imagine if they voted yes for one, they voted yes for both. But the institutionals, they have different considerations than we do. And so, yeah, when we saw the news last night, I was pretty excited.
I was pretty excited too, because I think also the whole deal with the whole chaos stirred up by also with the help of Alexandra Merz, huge shout out for this, that really she kept on pushing, also helped a lot of Europeans actually to try to actually vote, because that was the main issue for me too. I still couldn't vote in the end. That's pretty sad. So I was sitting at the sidelines. I was like, oh man, will it pass? Will it not pass? But I think it also did a lot of...
Yes.
Okay, I want to show off, thank you guys. I want to show off this video. This is Alexandra Merz meeting Robin Denholm. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but they were basically saying, join the board, join the board. So I am communicating with Alexandra. They are there, and it's just been a great thing. She put together
you can sign it big.
This.
You really got to push on it though. It's gonna...
Gotta sign his name.
Say hello.
That's Xander there.
All right. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but she was the one that created that banner. It says, don't mess with Tesla retail shareholders. She was able to get everybody together. And I don't know if you heard, but they said that Herbert wants her to sign my name, because I convinced them to sign my name even though I'm not there. So
yeah, I did the same thing actually. Yeah, I had to.
So let's go with you, Søren. What are you thinking about all this?
Well, it's just tremendously exciting. I don't know that I had any great insight in terms of how the vote would go, but I'm very pleased that it has gone the right way. However, the challenge we have now is we have to find something else to worry about. And I guess
no, we
I guess
don't.
we'll have to go. I guess we'll have to go back to worrying about quarterly deliveries or something like that.
We're not going to do that. Larry, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm very happy. Brian said that my good friend Brad called it first, but I have to say that from the very beginning, I was fairly confident it was going to pass. I wasn't as sure about the redomestication because the requirement there is a little bit higher. I thought it would pass, but by a lower majority. I was pretty surprised and very pleased to see that, if anything, it may be a slightly better majority. And so it's quite clear that the retail and institutional shareholders understand what brings real value to Tesla. And that understanding of the real value of Tesla is very important as we move forward into the coming 5 years, which are going to be very formative. Tesla's changing. There's a huge flux in the business model. We have to all be behind it. We have to all understand it, and we have to all grow with it and be supportive. And the fact that we have this retail group, the fact that we have this institutional group, all great supporters, is very important. So I'm very pleased, couldn't be more pleased. And I'm so proud of Alexandra Merz. And I really do believe she deserves a seat on the board of this company.
She does. I am going to start to spearhead this. You can hear when you listen in.
Join the board. Join the board.
People are starting to chant, join the board. I do think she would represent retail shareholders really well. She has said she does not want to become investor relations, but I really would love her to be the board. Who here thinks that she should? And does she have the qualifications to be a board member?
Absolutely. Why not? She gets the company, she gets the vision, she gets the mission. She saw something in Tesla that others didn't at a time when the deck was stacked against them, when there was a lot of convertible multi-billion-dollar bonds coming due that were at very real risk of having to be paid with cash. She did the craziest thing she could have done as a fund manager, which is get rid of her diversified portfolio, go all in, so she gets the mission. What the pushback would be, well, that's just another Elon buddy. Look, I want people on the board who understand the mission.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah. I wanted to say that I'm like really happy. Hey guys, I'm really happy for Elon. Because he's a very emotional. We know that. And I think that speaks a lot that he got like the full support of the community, of the Tesla fans, of like worldwide support. I think that is like, it's priceless. It's like giving him so much motivation for the next 5 to 10 years to build the company, to build a vision. And I'm so happy also for him, because you could see it in the tweet that he is like really fully in love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get to you, Bradford. What have you ever seen this in all the companies you've invested in, all the companies you've followed in, a retail shareholder that's mobilized? GameStop has 50 million investors that support them, and Tesla has 10 million. Anything else you've ever seen like this?
I haven't. And yeah, just for context, Tesla Fix and Robin TV are in Muskegon, Michigan. There's a big Tesla get together on Saturday. I'm coming to that. I'm only going from Carmel, Indiana, but Tesla Fix and Robin came all the way over from Europe. And Larry's on vacation in Europe. I think he's in Norway right now, if I'm right, or just
no. I'm actually on my way from Norway back to Holland. I'm in Germany tonight.
Yeah. So, yeah, appreciate you all. What Tesla Boomer Mama or Alexandra shows us is like one person really can make a difference. And I'm going to confess something right now. I thought about doing some measures like she was doing, but like I didn't think it would really make a difference. And she really took the bull by the horns and really made a mission and a huge project out of this and made a huge difference. Got it so that people could vote their shares in many European institutions where they were initially refusing to allow people to vote because they just didn't have systems for it. Just the way the shares are held, and there's just and was able to combine forces with Tesla and to help get those shares voted. So, you know, she's a leader. She really stuck her neck out to do all that. And really appreciate those efforts. And it put a tear in my eye when seeing her hug Robin Denholm, because that's really truly deserved and earned and a special thing. So yeah, I think it's really exciting. I thought it was a high degree of certainty it would pass. I put a number to it. Larry said it would pass too. He wasn't brave enough to say 99% chance, but it's all right. It's all right. I didn't think the Texas thing would pass. It's a very high hurdle to get so many shares of vote. And we saw like in the last 2 days, suddenly a bunch of shares got either voted or just processed or whatever.
Word on that, Brad? Could I have a word on that?
Mm-hmm.
Could I have a word on that?
Go ahead.
It is normal for many investors and institutions to vote in the last minute. I've done that all my life. I've always voted on the day before for very good reasons, because you don't know what changes are going to take place. And I can tell you, I have a mark on my back from a company that actually had a court action raised against them 2 days before the annual general, before a vote, before a very important proxy vote that changed the whole nature of that vote. Now, you can change your vote. There's nothing to stop you changing your vote. But it is a real pain to keep track and do that. So it's not unusual for most institutions to vote very late. We saw, CalPERS voted 4 days before. So it's not a surprise to have seen that vote take place on that last day. So, we shouldn't have been surprised.
Okay. Thank you so much, Larry and Bradford. So we will be playing in about 15 minutes here when they start to stream the actual annual shareholder meeting with Elon standing up and talking to us. We will play that right here, so stay in. In the meantime, I am trying to get people that are physically there, but they're busy. They're having a little bit of fun, and they are not allowed to stream their videos, but I'm trying to convince a couple to come in and share what's actually happening on the ground. But, these guys deserve it. And there's so many people that stood up and did a lot of work. It started off with them creating some sort of petition, right? Like as soon as the judge made this ruling, Alexandra, K10, Amy, they got together and they said, let's create this petition. They got everybody signing it. And it was some ridiculous number. I don't remember, but like something like 70 million shares worth of Tesla represented. We were like the top 7 holding of all the people that said this is not right. And then they organized a letter writing campaign, and it was actually then able to be part of the record. Amy, of course, some of you may not know this, that she actually joined and filed a motion to counter the lawyers of the plaintiffs of what they're going to get. And she has the best of the best lawyers, and that's going to continue because this has to stop. Just because this happened does not mean we've won. Doesn't mean that these 2 provisions is done. But what it means is that in the future, if other lawsuits will happen, and there likely will, if this one failed, they would continue to file. So this lawsuit Amy joining in that lawsuit will at least put everything that was done by the retail shareholders into the record, and it will, maybe a little bit stop some future lawsuits from happening as this continues. But this, this retail shareholder standing up and, coming together and voting together, this was unbelievable, right? So what do you guys think? That it came out to 70+%, almost exactly what it was in the 2018. But this time they had their buttons, everything buttoned up and everything explained properly, right? So that has to make a difference, right? What do you think,
I'd say it absolutely does.
Yes.
Oh, well, I would say it absolutely does. What I'm looking at is the people who got the biggest benefit from it, many of them may not still be in the stock. There are a lot more shares now than before. There are a lot more shareholders. There are a lot of new investors who've bought since the all-time high, who haven't enjoyed the 10x, the 15x that some of us were lucky enough to get in on. And those are people who might have some bitterness, some resentment. But the last thing you'd want to do in that situation is shoot yourself in the foot. And so I guess even the people who didn't get as good of a deal as others still were able to step up. I am surprised and impressed that it passed by the margin it did. Here we are. And I am more surprised, like Bradford was saying, that the redomestication passed as well as it did. But the shareholders are mobilized like never before.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a company getting this kind of involvement on a shareholder vote ever.
And it opened up actually a huge, big concern for other shareholders here in Europe, because for me, I couldn't vote. And guess what? I'm going to diversify now the brokers, and I'm going to go to the New York Stock Exchange actually and trade directly there, because I don't want to deal with that anymore. So I won't probably not take my shares. I don't know how that works. I'm not as financial savvy in that sense, but that's what I'm going to do. And I think it also showed a big point here that it stirred up a lot of chaos in Europe. Let me tell you that, because many shareholders knew, okay, we have a we have a right to vote, but where is it? Why can't I do that? And that's so incredible. Also, you, Robin, couldn't vote, for example.
Of course, I also tried to pressure my broker, but they said like, yeah, no, you can just like do some stuff that is happening in Germany, but what's in USA happening, I cannot participate. I was very disappointed. And so I also heard that a lot of broker got so many messages like never before. The pressure was very high. So it was also a good thing that they maybe hopefully rethink their policies and change something, because people will leave, maybe, hopefully. So to show them that this is not good.
Yeah, that's not a state how to do. And I wanted to ask also the group, since so many financial savvy people are here right now, do you think that actually the retail shareholders, since we were so loud and many people were so loud, did that change the sentiment of some of the retail or the institutional investors? I mean, do you think that's a possibility that the pressure came, or is that just not cared about at all? So, yeah.
So I don't think it changed any of the institutional shareholders where a portfolio manager was responsible. There are, however, shares held by some of the investment groups. For example, Vanguard will hold accounts, individual accounts for multiple people, but they'll hold those shares, in their own portfolio, and there they would have to honor the requirement of the shareholder. And so they may have been surprised by the action, but by and large, up to now, I think Brad would support me in saying that institutions have been completely dismissive of individuals' requirements. I think this will definitely wake them up. What do you think, Brad? Brad's not thinking.
He's not thinking. So yes, we'll create a blacklist of asset managers that voted no. That's the next project that Alexandra is going to do. And so once she puts that together, we, the retail shareholders, are going to go out and try to put more pressure on them, because in the future, you didn't make it easy for us shareholders like Jan be able to vote, right? Let's activate and make sure they're fixing.
The problem arises with asset managers like CalPERS and other unions that, other institutions that hold pension money. They don't answer to anybody. So you take the Norway pension fund. You know, they don't answer to anybody. And by the way, the chairman of that fund, who was supposedly a friend of Elon's and runs his own private wealth fund, or I don't know what kind of fund it is. I think it's an investment fund, but he runs a private investment fund out of New York City. You know, they voted no, and I think that's going to rebound very heavily on him politically. But other than political pressure, it's really hard to bring pressure on these people. Very, very hard.
Okay.
Brad, speak.
Yeah. So sorry about that. Yeah, we're seeing things backfire, like the number of shares that Gerber Kawasaki manages as a firm. It was 400,000 at the end of the year. That's like all their clients. That's how many shares their clients have in Tesla. So we're not talking about the ETF, and that's dropped all the way down to like 330 something. Where the number of shares we have has gone from like 230,000 to 265,000, something like that, roughly on that order. You have to check my Form 13F. So I think these things are backfiring. Yeah, to me, it's crazy where, vast majority of shareholders agreed with this. Yeah, I personally use the Elon compensation package to inform how I was going to invest in Tesla. I use that like as a guiding or a North Star because I knew that Elon was shooting for that himself. So I just thought it was deeply unfair that it was overturned, and I'm extremely satisfied the shareholders ratified it. Yeah, that people are worried that because there's more index funds that own Tesla that may be driven by ISIS or ISS vote recommendations. People were worried that it wouldn't pass, but luckily I think BlackRock have voted for it, even though they have some index funds, and plenty of active managers voted for it. And I think one thing that's great about Tesla moving to Texas is this is going to help Elon get his 25% of votes without shareholders necessarily having to just suddenly give him, 10% more shares or 7% more shares, whatever it is after tax. So, I incredibly encouraged and excited for today. And I think we're going to hear a rowdy group once the shareholder meeting starts.
We're going to go ahead and play that. It'll start in 7 minutes. And as soon as that happens, we'll scream it here. In the meantime, we are hearing, this is the greatest thing. We've got Alexandra Merz was able to meet with Robin Denholm, who's a chair person of Tesla. She was thanked by Elon directly, by Musk. You saw the outpouring of thanks from the Tesla shareholders. She really worked really hard. And then she also created this banner that everybody's signing. Again, this is just don't mess with Tesla shareholders, right? We can mobilize, we can make things happen. And she made this happen. So this is historic. I think it's kind of historic. It might be something that they'll look back in history like this was something important because she did move the needle. And then I wanted to share this because I think this is funny. I'm not there. I'm at home because I've got my daughter's graduation, but I got my signature on it. I won't tell you who did that, but they wrote my signature right in the middle. I am in it. So last night, as soon as Elon announced this, Omar wrote him a post and he said, okay, Elon, we got you the options. Now you have to make Tesla the most valuable company on earth. Deal? Elon very quickly replied back saying, yes. Omar says handshake deal. So Elon is now saying Tesla's going to become the most valuable company on earth. He's willing to double down on that. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that he's committed and he's part of the company going forward. Søren, I haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any doubt that Elon wasn't committed to Tesla, I think we can put that to rest. This whole notion of a part-time CEO is utterly ridiculous. I just wanted to mention from our earlier discussion, in my 30 years in the investment industry, I have never seen a company with a shareholder base like Tesla. You have people that have taken on Tesla's mission as their own mission. And as we've seen, they will move heaven and earth to get things done on behalf of the company. You also have people, a few crazy people in this group that have YouTube channels that talk about Tesla every single day.
Yeah.
Right. And I can point at a few of you that do this. I don't know really of any other company that has that kind of support from its investors. And that is unique. It is powerful. And I think a lot of institutions are taking more and more, they're gaining awareness about that. And they're seeing how powerful that is. And I think there are a lot of company CEOs that are very jealous of that. Right. And wouldn't they love to foster such a base of support among their shareholders? They must dream of such support. So that is unique and that is amazing. On the institutional voting side of things, a lot of organizations have proxy voting policies that are pretty restrictive. So, for example, the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, it's my understanding that they've got pretty strong restrictions on CEO pay. And that restriction has been created by, a committee of people. And I doubt that the head of the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund can just say, no, I'm going to ignore that. I think, a deal is a deal. We're going to support this. So as much as he may have personally wanted to vote for it, and I don't know if he did or didn't, I don't know. But a lot of organizations have very restrictive proxy voting policies. Now, hopefully this causes them to reconsider some of their policies. But unfortunately, it didn't help in this regard. Now, the good news is it didn't matter.
All right. Well, we were 3 minutes away, and we're going to go and play that as soon as that happens. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you guys think? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I jump in here real quick, because I wanted to say something about what's going to happen, because me and Robin actually flew over here to the US. We were in San Francisco before, and we've met up with John from Tesla on a Silicon Valley, tested the Cybertruck. We've experienced it. Then we tested FSD like crazy here. That was the first thing that we wanted to do. And we've met up with Omar a couple of times, and we tested the newest version of FSD.
Wait. So can we get Scott here? Scott, tell us what's happening in the event.
Well, hello, Herbert. Hello, everyone. I think you can see behind me is Alexandra Merz and Jeff Lutz. I think well known to all our users. And way over on that side is where we were able to sign our Declaration of Independence as shareholders to let them know that the Tesla army is pretty strong. We're about 2 minutes from the event starting. They already gave us the 5-minute warning. And I'm here with John Gibbs, of course, Dr. Know-It-All. We're in the center aisle. Send us some questions. Maybe one of us will be lucky to go ahead and get to one of the mics. But there's definitely a lot of excitement here, based on the fact that we kind of know what the result is. Here's John.
Thumbs up.
And we get some Optimus news that we'll spread a little bit later.
Everybody.
That we found out about.
Hey, folks.
First of all, it's definitely in Fremont. It's not down here. And the other thing we know is we know a little bit about the hand, but we'll get into detail later on, because we met some people who got the personal tour from Elon and Franz. And I met them last night, so I prompted them with some questions that I wanted them to ask, and they were able to ask them about the hand. So I'll share that a little bit later, but I say we're like about a minute from the start, and we'll save that as a teaser for later.
Thank you so much, Scott. Appreciate you. Now we get to see what's going on inside. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, okay, so are we taking any orders for hats back there? Unfortunately, they sold out of the T-shirts, but you got to get the orders in before the shareholder meeting's over.
Get me one.
Just find me ahead for the plus one that I've kind of organized for you. So let's do it.
Look, there's two hats. There's this hat here, and then there's this hat here.
Oh, do you want me to show?
Get me both, Scott. Get me both.
I want that one.
Okay, you want both? Text me what you want, and we'll pick them up.
Thanks, Scott.
We got the doghouse. Yeah, hopefully they're still open back there. We'll see.
Wait. Tesla doghouse. It's called dog mode. There it is.
There we go.
There's like a little Snoopy in there. It's kind of hard to see. Here, wait. Maybe it shows up better.
Okay.
All right.
Scott, take photos and text it to me. We want to show the celebration. Thank you.
Okay, will do.
Bye.
Talk to everyone later. Bye now.
All right. I'm playing this. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep it here, and as soon as it gets started, we'll watch this. But
yeah, maybe the
is it
last
loud
sentence.
enough?
Yeah, it's loud enough. Yeah. So the last sentence was just, we've experienced the new products of Tesla that are coming. People don't know what will happen with FSD. This will be solved in Europe, no problem. I would say it even can drive in Italy, because we've drove the serpentines with FSD with no problem. We had just one disengagement in between, and I think they're going to solve that as well. So I'm super hyped to finally experience that for the first time, Robin, right? And
yeah. I was like driving with Omar with a 12.4.1 through San Jose and around maybe 1 hour, and no disengagement, and it was like brilliant. I was like amazed.
Okay, so let's go.
Welcome to Texas, home. The home of Tesla. My name is Brandon Earhart. I'm the General Counsel and Corporate Secretary, and this meeting is going to be in two parts. First, we're going to cover the 12 items that stockholders have been asked to vote on, as well as any other matters that have been properly presented. Second, our founder and CEO, Elon Musk, will provide a presentation. During the course of the following sessions, we may discuss our business outlook and make other forward-looking statements. Such statements are predictions based on current expectations. Actual events or results could materially differ due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those disclosed in our most recent 10-K or 10-Q as filed with the SEC. Such forward-looking statements represent our views as of today, should not be relied on hereafter, and we disclaim any obligation to update them after today. At this time, I'd like to thank members of the Tesla team and the board that are here in attendance. A representative from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Tesla's independent auditor, is also present. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to our board chair, Robin Denholm, who would like to say a few words.
Thanks, Brandon, and hello, everyone. As chair of Tesla's board, I am honored to welcome you all to our home, Texas, for our annual 2024 annual shareholder meeting. And when I say I'm honored to welcome you, our shareholders, I truly am. No other company in the world has such a diverse, engaged, and supportive set of shareholders as Tesla. No other shareholder base understands its company like you do, nor is as committed to Tesla's mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy like you are. It is a shareholder base whose interests the board are proud to represent. It is also a shareholder base that understands that in order to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy and a sustainable energy economy, Tesla needs to develop the most revolutionary technologies, not only in autos, but in energy and artificial intelligence as well. Our achievements this past year are steps towards fulfilling our mission. Some highlights include the Model Y becoming the best-selling vehicle in the world in 2023. Beginning deliveries of the much-anticipated Cybertruck, proving that the muscle and utility of a pickup truck can be electric and cool. And our energy storage deployments reaching an all-time high in 2023, with the deployment trend continuing in 2024. By using our products, Tesla customers avoided releasing over 20 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions in 2023. That is the equivalent of 51 billion miles driven by ICE vehicles, an increase of about 18 billion avoided ICE miles since 2022. But to continue the exponential growth in greenhouse gas emission avoidance, we not only have to get our products into as many customers' hands as possible, but we also need to increase the utilization of our products. And to help further with that goal, we released FSD Supervised, demonstrating that our approach to autonomy is scalable and that accomplishments in artificial intelligence, along with leveraging our existing production lines to get our next generation products to market faster, are essential to achieving our mission. We have made and plan to make further investments in hardware and software ecosystem to further advance our path to autonomy and set a course to realization of robotaxis. But sustainability is not just about avoiding emissions. It needs to take into account the whole life cycle from the manufacturing of the products to the product's end of life. That is why we source responsibly. We design our manufacturing processes to use less water per vehicle than the industry average. And for the third year in a row, we power our Supercharger network with 100% renewables energy. And we are also working to build a battery material recycling ecosystem, both internally and with others, to ensure that we are moving towards a truly circular economy for energy storage. In 2023 alone, we supported the recovery of enough battery materials to build 43,000 new rear-wheel drive Model Ys. That result is the epitome of a sustainable economy. While sustainability is our mission, we also have the goal of safety. Our cars are engineered to be some of the safest in the world, and we take real-world data from our fleet and our ability to push over-the-air updates to optimize safety for all our vehicle models. Our attention to autonomy also plays a role in our goal of safety. Based on 2023 data, Tesla vehicles with driver assist technologies engaged have only a one vehicle accident per 5.64 million miles driven. Compared to the US, yeah, I think it's worth clapping. Compared to the US vehicle fleet of one accident per 670,000 miles driven. So not only are you protecting the environment by driving a Tesla, you're also protecting yourself and those who ride with you. With another year of progress in furthering our mission under our belt, I want to take this moment to thank our phenomenal Tesla employees, whose creativity, hard work, and dedication are the source of our success. Yes, huge thanks. And as most are also shareholders alongside each and every one of you, I hope each employee takes pride in the role that you have played in Tesla's accomplishments. I am proud of you, and the board and I appreciate you tremendously. Finally, I want to remind our shareholders, that your board is listening, and we are here to represent your interests. You are, yes. You are the owners of the company, and your voices, your perspectives, and your input are critical to us as a board and to the direction of the company. My fellow directors and I serve as your fiduciaries and oversee Tesla's mission, purpose, and strategy with those responsibilities in mind. We continuously set the highest standards for ethical behaviour, corporate citizenship, and corporate governance. You don't see the day-to-day work of the directors, but I can assure you this is a highly engaged board, and I would like to thank my fellow directors for their dedication, whether it be inside the boardroom, meeting with our shareholders, or working closely with our team members throughout the company. Tesla is unique. Thank you. Tesla is unique in how active and large our retail shareholder base is, and we hope you here in this room and our shareholders joining us virtually today continue to take advantage of our shareholder platform to enhance your engagement with Tesla. I want to give a special shout out to our small but mighty IR team and legal team and everyone involved in running this year's proxy campaign, both inside and outside of Tesla. There is still much to do, but it has galvanized us around the strong belief that the right things are always worth fighting for. Thank you. And now I'll hand it back. Thank you. Now I'm going to hand it back to Brandon. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. So I will now call the meeting to order. The time is now 3:40 p.m. Central, and I declare that the polls are now open. We have already received over the past few weeks voting proxies from our stockholders. However, if you wish to vote your shares at this time, you may do so through the virtual meeting portal, or if you want to vote in person, ballots and ballot boxes are available at the front. Tesla's board of directors has appointed Tony Cardidio, a representative of the Cardidio Group, to serve as the inspector of election. In addition, Broadridge Financial Services has certified that starting on April 29th, 2024, the proxy materials or notice of internet availability for proxy materials were mailed or provided to all Tesla stockholders of record on April 15th, 2024. We have a majority of the outstanding shares represented at the meeting, so I declare that there is a quorum present and that we may proceed with the meeting. The items on the agenda are as follows. There are 5 Tesla proposals. The election of 2 Class II directors, James Murdoch and Kimball Musk, to serve for a term of 3 years or until their respective successors are duly elected and qualified. To approve executive compensation on a non-advisory basis. To approve the re-domestication of Tesla from Delaware to Texas via conversion. To ratify the 100% performance-based stock option award to Elon Musk that was previously approved by stockholders in 2018. To ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP as Tesla's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year 2024. Tesla's board has recommended that our stockholders vote for each of the 2 director nominees and for each of the 4 other Tesla proposals. We have also received 7 stockholder proposals that are described in the proxy statement. I would like to remind our stockholders that Tesla's board has prepared a statement in opposition to these proposals, which also appear in our proxy statement. So let's turn to those 7 stockholder proposals. The first one is an advisory vote regarding reduction of director terms to 1 year. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this, as explained in the proxy. This stockholder proposal is proposed by Mr. James McRitchie, who has prepared a pre-recorded message.
Thank you. We presented a similar proposal in 2021. 55% supported it, even though the board put up a competing proposal, accountability every other year instead of every year. Neither received the required 67% of shares owned. 90% of the S&P 500 have a declassified board. Most institutional shareholders will again support our proposal. Join them. The recent Delaware court case identified 3 legal deficiencies at Tesla. Directors were not independent, the facts of the pay plan presented to investors were misleading, and the board failed to negotiate properly. A major part of the cure is declassifying the board so shareholders can hold directors accountable or submit their own nominations. Matt Mascardi of Free Float calls proposal number 6 the most important vote today, since it may enable investors to change the board, bringing new skills and professionalism. John Chevedden's simple majority vote is the other crucial vote. Another important endorser is Nell Minow, co-founder of companies including proxy advisor ISS. The Musk premium is already eroding. Tesla is Musk's liquid piggy bank since it's publicly traded. His other companies are not. Either he sticks around long enough to use our shareholder capital to fund his other ventures, or he shifts his attention sooner if we reject his pay package and turn off the money tap. Bite the bullet. Prepare for a future that doesn't depend on a superhero dictatorship. We need to transition from a board dominated by friends and family to one of expert independent directors in engineering, software, and other relevant fields. Musk is a genius. I'm saddened to see him focus his attention elsewhere, but it is happening. Don't let him siphon off more from Tesla. We need to transition to a more democratic Tesla that can attract customers, employees, and shareholders seeking a better world ahead. Again, vote for number 6 and 7. Declassify the board for accountability. Lower the voting threshold for more flexibility. Vote now before the polls are closed. Your vote can make a significant difference in our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McRitchie. As a reminder, the board's response was contained in our proxy statement. The second stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding simple majority provisions in our governing documents. Our board has recommended against and are set forth for the reasons in the proxy. This stockholder proposal is proposed by Mr. John Chevedden, who is on the line to present this proposal. Mr. Chevedden, I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Hello, this is John Chevedden. Proposal 7, simple majority vote. Shareholders request that the Board of Directors take the necessary steps so that each voting requirement in the charter and bylaws that calls for a greater than simple majority vote be replaced by a requirement for a majority of the votes cast for and against such proposals, or a simple majority. This includes making the necessary changes in plain English. This Proposal 7 is the exact same concept that the Tesla Board of Directors supported at the 2022 Tesla annual meeting. The 2022 Tesla Board of Directors proposal then won 98% support from the Tesla shareholders who voted. And the Board of Directors version of this proposal would have been adopted earlier if the Board of Directors had only made a slight effort to encourage more Tesla shareholders to vote for their proposal. This simple majority vote standard proposal will help improve Tesla shareholder rights. Tesla now scores a dismal 10 in shareholder rights, with 10 being the worst possible score. The Tesla Board of Directors supported this proposal concept in 2022 and should do so today. Shareholder rights and a simple majority vote standard are all the more important when Tesla has a CEO, Elon Musk, who is threatening to give less attention to Tesla and is threatening to withhold advanced technology from Tesla unless he gets a $56 billion paycheck. Never before have shareholders been under such duress when asked to approve an outrageous $56 billion CEO paycheck. Plus, there's no promise with this $56 billion paycheck that Mr. Musk will devote any minimum percentage of his time to Tesla or pursue any minimum amount of advanced technology at Tesla. Russ Gerber of the investment firm Gerber Kawasaki said, "I believe the Tesla board of directors is the most conflicted, least independent, and most incapable board of directors in the history of business. Please vote yes. Simple majority vote, Proposal 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chevedden. As a reminder, the board's response is set forth in the proxy. Our third stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding annual reporting on anti-harassment and discrimination efforts. Our board has recommended against for the reasons set forth in the proxy. This stockholder proposal is proposed by the New York State Common Retirement Fund as the lead filer, which has requested that Dr. Kristen Hall, as representative for Neo Impact Capital as co-filer for this proposal, present this proposal. Dr. Hall, I would like to invite you to speak. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Dr. Kristen Hull of NEA Impact Capital. I'm here on behalf of lead filer, New York State Comptroller Thomas D. Paoli, trustee of New York State Retirement Fund, owner of Tesla shares valued at over $650 million as of March of this year. And I'm here as a co-filer of Proposal 8. The fund is a significant long-term owner of Tesla and has an explicit focus on investing in climate solutions. Longview Large Cap Fund, through its trustee Amalgamated Bank, AP7, and Arjuna join us in filing this resolution. Our firm name NEA means intention and purpose. We invest only in those companies we see building toward a better world, a sustainable and inclusive future. As the founder of NEA, I had been proud in our early ownership of Tesla. I saw the potential and the need for innovation in the automotive and the clean energy market space. However, when looking under the frunk, we find failures in workplace management, one of the most important components of any business. Employees need to be hired, trained, motivated, and engaged to do high-quality work. And we need those employees to be able to contribute to their top ability. To do so, they must feel both physically and emotionally safe at work. Investors are requesting the report outlined in Proposal 8 because workplace abuse, harassment, and discrimination have no place at Tesla. They can result in substantial costs, including employee turnover, increased absenteeism, and reduced productivity, as well as legal costs, all of which can impact shareholders' investments in the company. They may also lead to difficulties in recruiting high-quality employees, something that Tesla needs to remain innovative and at the forefront of a quickly moving technological landscape. We have expressed concerns about Tesla's workplace for years. And year after year, more harassment and discrimination allegations have emerged with few visible improvements in Tesla's people management policies or practices to assuage our concerns. Lawsuits and class actions before Tesla now involve thousands of employees, with allegations including repeated use of racial epithets by managers and employees, segregation and discrimination against non-white employees in job assignments, pay and promotion, and retaliation when employees report their experiences. These concerns are why I now formally move Proposal 8, requesting that Tesla's board commission an independent report on the effectiveness of the company's efforts to prevent harassment and discrimination within this revolutionary and innovative workspace. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Hall. The board's response is set forth in the proxy materials. Let's turn to the fourth stockholder proposal, which is an advisory vote regarding the adoption of freedom of association and collective bargaining policy. Our board has recommended against for the reasons set forth in the proxy. This stockholder proposal is proposed by SOC Investment Group, whose representative Tezel Patel has prepared a pre-recorded message.
Hello, I'm Tejal Patel, the Executive Director of the SOC Investment Group, and I hereby move Proposal 9, a shareholder proposal requesting that Tesla Board of Directors adopt and disclose a non-interference and collective bargaining policy that upholds international labor rights standards in its operations. This resolution was submitted with other co-filers, and we are concerned that Tesla's existing policy fails to clearly explain how conflicts between international and local labor law will be resolved, and because of clear indications that Tesla is not adhering to its current policy despite the operational, legal, human capital management, and reputational risks involved. We recognize that Tesla revised its global human rights policy in April 2023 to explicitly refer to the rights of workers to free association and collective bargaining, but these revisions were fatally compromised. The statement committing to respect these rights includes the qualifier in conformance with local law, rather than referencing the often higher international human rights standards, suggesting that Tesla respects these rights only as explicitly required by local laws. Numerous signs suggest that Tesla is not respecting its workers' fundamental rights. In Sweden, Tesla has faced months-long strikes and boycotts over what has been characterized as a refusal to bargain. Moreover, as part of its reporting on the situation, Reuters wrote that Tesla has a policy of not signing collective agreements, which, if true, would directly contravene the company's current policy. In Germany, Tesla faces allegations of refusal to bargain and poor working conditions. In the United States, Tesla has had adverse decisions by the full National Labor Relations Board and the U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals over labor rights violations. Just last month, the NLRB issued a complaint alleging that restrictions in Tesla's workplace technology policy served to unlawfully discourage employees from joining unions or acting concertedly. It is also relevant for shareholders to consider the broader human capital management risks Tesla faces, including reports of higher health and safety violations and injury rates than peers, and numerous lawsuits alleging of hostile work environments. Freedom of association and collective bargaining are considered enabling rights, meaning that they empower workers to effectively advocate for additional labor rights, including the right to a safe and healthy workplace free from discrimination. The adoption of a comprehensive labor rights policy that clearly articulates a commitment to non-interference, good faith collective bargaining, and adherence to higher international standards would help Tesla better mitigate these human capital management risks, as well as operational and reputational risks, like we are seeing in Sweden. Therefore, we urge you to vote for item 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patel. The board's response is set forth in the proxy. The fifth stockholder proposal is an advisory vote regarding reporting on effects and risks associated with electromagnetic radiation and wireless technologies. Our board has recommended against for the reasons set forth in the proxy. This stockholder proposal is proposed by Lendrell Purcell, whose representative, Dr. Devra Davis, has prepared a pre-recorded message.
I am Devra Davis, founder of Environmental Health Trust. I am speaking with you today on behalf of shareholder Lendrell Purcell regarding her proposal seeking an annual report on the risks from magnetic fields and wireless radiation in their products. I'm also speaking on behalf of millions of young children, infants and toddlers, and pregnant women who are more vulnerable to wireless radiation, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. I'm the founding director of the Board on Environmental Studies and Toxicology from the National Academy of Sciences, and I've published more than 220 scientific articles on environmental health and have concluded, along with hundreds of other experts, that current exposures to non-ionizing electromagnetic fields, called EMF, constitute a serious and unrecognized public health risk. Tesla vehicles operate with a 1,200-pound battery that emits magnetic fields and also uses wireless equipment such as Wi-Fi and radar emitting wireless radiation. Tesla should provide transparent information on measured exposures and efforts to reduce them. The World Health Organization has concluded that both low levels of EMF and microwave or cellular radiation are, quote, possible carcinogens, the same category as some pesticides and gasoline. The companies that provide secondary insurance, like Lloyd's of London and Swiss Re, have long considered electromagnetic fields to be uninsurable. comparable to asbestos due to potential health and environmental damages. Tesla shareholders have a right to know how the company insures itself against such risks. The fact that current levels may be legal does not mean they are safe. In fact, U.S. regulations were set more than a quarter century ago. It has been 3 years since the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia determined that the FCC had been, quote, arbitrary and capricious in its failure to consider all of the science and refusal to update wireless limits. Tesla has failed to inform consumers about the measured levels of magnetic fields and wireless radiation within the automobile or their other products. Infants and toddlers by law are strapped into seats to protect them during crashes, but they have no protection from EMF that can go more deeply into their thinner skulls. To mitigate risks for Tesla, the company could shield its vehicles and ensure wireless antennas could be easily turned off. Hardware and software changes can lower exposures generally. Tesla has developed extremely rigorous compliance and hazard screenings beyond regulatory requirements for certain toxic chemicals. Investors can encourage the company to take a similar leadership role regarding reducing EMF. It's time for the company to unambiguously compete on safety regarding wireless radiation and non-ionizing radiation emitted by its products. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. The board's response is set forth in the proxy. Let's move on to the sixth stockholder proposal, which is an advisory vote regarding adopting targets and reporting on metrics to assess the feasibility of integrating sustainability metrics into senior executive compensation plans. Our board has recommended against for the reasons set forth in the proxy. This stockholder proposal is proposed by Tulip Share Securities Limited, whose representative, Constant Ricketts, has prepared a pre-recorded message.
Good afternoon. Fellow shareholders, thank you for your time. I'm Constance Ricketts, and today I'm speaking on behalf of Tulip Share in support of Proposal 11, urging Tesla to integrate sustainability metrics, including diversity among senior executives, into executive compensation plans. This proposal calls for robust, quantitative targets and transparent reporting to both resolve executive pay plan controversies and ensure our company's long-term stability and success. Diversity and independence in leadership are essential for innovation and enhanced decision-making, while sustainability metrics in executive compensation reflect alignment with regulatory pressures, investor expectations, and responsible business practices. Despite 75% of S&P 500 companies incorporating sustainability metrics into executive pay plans, Tesla fails to do so. This is especially concerning given our mission to accelerate the world's transition to renewable energy. The recent ruling that voided our CEO's $56 billion pay package highlighted the need for fair and negotiated compensation plans that serve stockholders' best interests. Tesla's proxy statement does not offer substantive evidence of how the voided 2018 award harms stockholder democracy or how its ratification will cure prior deficiencies and lead to a different outcome. Likewise, the opposition to this proposal fails to show any evidence of an existing performance-based component integrated into the executive pay structure that respects established human rights due diligence processes and principles. Instead, it cites its human rights policy that is wholly unrelated to executive compensation and doubles down on the argument that the currently contested executive pay structure is the only means of motivation to achieve our company's mission. This commitment to the status quo essentially dismisses the ongoing controversies that Tesla must face and overcome, including softening sales, advancing competition, split focus in leadership, a 30% drop in stock price, reduced market cap, mass layoffs, human rights violations, and ongoing legal challenges. Tesla's executives absolutely should be duly compensated for innovative and successful business. However, stockholder democracy allows us to oppose demands like 25% control of the company and the largest pay package in corporate American history via further share issuance. We also have the right to vote for our leadership's compensation to be commensurate with financial and sustainability performance. This does not mean we do not respect our leadership's time, energy, and contributions. Quite the contrary, as it is our duty as stockholders to ensure long-term viability and success for our company.
Thank you, Ms. Ricketts. The board's response is set forth in the proxy. Let's move on to the 7th stockholder proposal, which is an advisory vote regarding committing to a moratorium on sourcing minerals from deep sea mining. Our board has recommended against for the reasons set forth in the proxy. This proposal is proposed by As You Sow, whose representative, Elizabeth Levy, has also recorded a pre-recorded message.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Elizabeth Levy, representing As You Sow, speaking on proposal number 12. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of the ocean. Even so, a new industry is moving forward to exploit the deep sea. We believe this industry poses risks to Tesla now and into the future. Deep sea mining is the process of dredging the ocean floor to extract battery-related minerals. It will indiscriminately destroy habitats and obliterate life in its path. Seabed mining could release carbon stores and toxic sediment plumes, poisoning marine food chains and disrupting sea life breeding and migration. The deep sea is complex and abundant with life. Its ecosystems are slow-growing and fragile, with little to no ability to recover from outside disturbance. Plans are moving forward to launch the process for commercial-scale deep-sea mining with or without regulation. Tesla's membership in the OECD and IRMA mining protocols does not resolve this issue, as neither currently applies to mining in the deep sea. Over 800 marine science and policy experts, 25 countries, 72 indigenous groups, and 48 companies are calling for a ban, moratorium, or precautionary pause on deep-sea mining. This includes Tesla's competitors BMW, Renault, Rivian, Volkswagen, and Volvo. Even General Motors has stated it does not plan to use deep-sea mine minerals. Our company's public stance on deep-sea mining matters. Tesla is the face of the EV transition, and its ambiguous position on deep-sea mining could drive investment in this controversial industry. Conversely, a clear stance restricting Tesla's use of deep-sea minerals can drive innovation in battery mineral tech, recycling, and circularity. With these technologies, even the most ambitious future EV use scenarios could be met without harming the deep sea. Tesla's failure to take a stand on deep-sea mining, combined with the fact that a former Tesla board director is now serving as a board member and special advisor to the CEO of the metals company, the very company leading the charge on deep-sea mining, raises concerns. Such a relationship appears to imply that Tesla supports the metals company in its deep-sea mining activities. Committing to a moratorium will clarify expectations and reduce reputational harm to the company, assuring customers and investors that Tesla will indeed wait until science shows deep-sea mining will not cause significant or irreparable damage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Levy. The board's response is set forth in the proxy. Please note that now is the final opportunity to submit any votes in order for them to be counted. I declare that the polls are now closed. Based on the proxies that we have received and the votes submitted at this meeting, I'd like to announce the results on a preliminary basis. With respect to the 7 stockholder proposals, our stockholders have approved the recommendations of the Tesla board on all of them except for Proposal 6 regarding director terms and Proposal 7 regarding simple majority voting. Now moving on to the 5 Tesla proposals. First, our stockholders have approved the election of our 2 Class 2 directors, James Murdoch and Kimball Musk, to serve for a term of 3 years and until their respective successors are duly elected and qualified. Second, our stockholders have approved executive compensation on a non-binding advisory basis. Third, our stockholders have approved the ratification of appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP as Tesla's independent registered public accounting firm for the 2024 fiscal year. Fourth, our stockholders have approved the redomestication of Tesla from Delaware to Texas.
Let's go.
Yes.
Woo.
Fifth and finally, our stockholders have approved the ratification of the 100% performance-based stock option award to Elon Musk that was approved by stockholders in 2018. The meeting is now closed, and with that, Tesla shareholders, let's welcome Elon Musk.
Woo!
The goal is to give people hope that there is a path to a fully sustainable global economy, that we are on that path, that we are accelerating that path, and that so long as we don't get complacent about it, it will happen.
This was really the beginning of the end of the Tesla bubble. I actually think the company could go bust.
Tesla's Model Y is the world's best-selling car, beating out Toyota's RAV4 and its Corolla models.
Regarding FSD version 12, it's profound. The rate of improvement is rapid. It might be the biggest asset value appreciation in history when you can do unsupervised full self-driving.
I mean, it just sounds like a story stock, autonomous taxi. I mean, can you really balance your checkbook with, sort of pie in the sky predictions like that?
If you ask the wrong question, the right answer is impossible.
My prediction is that a majority of Tesla's long-term value will be Optimus. And that prediction I'm very confident of.
It's very rare a product comes along that is seemingly impossible, that experts said would never be made. And this is one of those times. Finally, the future will look like the future. People say, like, why'd you make it bulletproof? I'm like, why not?
Energy storage deployments, the Megapack in particular, reached an all-time high in Q1, leading to record profitability for the energy business.
This is the machine that builds the machine, and the factory is the product. And this building is the most advanced car factory that Earth has ever seen.
If you value Tesla as an auto company, it's just the wrong framework. If somebody doesn't believe Tesla's going to solve autonomy, I think they should not be an investor in the company. But we will, and we are.
Hey guys, welcome to the Tesla shareholder meeting. And I just want to start off by saying, hot damn, I love you guys. Yeah. We have the most awesome shareholder base. I mean, it's just incredible. Any public company, it's incredible. Wow. We've got a great sort of shareholder meeting here to recap the achievements of the company and tell you about where we're going. And it's, I think it's incredible. I think we're not just opening a new chapter for Tesla, we're starting a new book. Okay. So those of you who have been following Tesla closely understand, like you get it, you know? So like, the important thing is you get it. I mean, it's, where things are going, I think is just gonna be absolutely mind-blowing. You know, we're obviously making great progress in solving the sustainable energy problem, you know, with electric vehicles, with stationary storage, with solar, and then I think in terms of the value of the company, autonomy is just such a mind-blowing thing that, like I said, you guys understand, but I think most of the world does not yet understand. So, you know, in talking to a lot of the sort of the big institutional investors, when they're often in like New York and they don't drive cars, so I'll be like, have you driven our car, or have you tried self-driving? You know, the version 12.3, and they're like, oh, no, okay. Well, you should try it. That would be a good thing to do. And if you just plot the points on the curve of how well autonomy is progressing, and just believe the curve, it's headed towards unsupervised full self-driving very quickly at an exponential pace. If you just, yeah, it's, I mean, yeah, so. It's really as simple as that. And in fact, I'd invite you to just do it personally. Just say, okay, with each release, how many miles do you drive before you have to intervene? It's like literally that simple. And with each release, you'll see there's a big improvement, and it looks like an exponential. So, and it's very clear that will actually go to the point where it is actually far safer than a person driving the car. And I have some insight into, you know, the next releases, because we've got basically, for every release that's on the road, we kind of see what the next generation release is and a little bit about the release after that. So we have some insight into where it's going, and it's really amazing. No question whatsoever that will far exceed human safety. Yeah, no question. So, and I think, you know, I have mentioned this, but like sometimes it's like helpful to sort of reiterate and connect some of the dots, because sometimes people wonder, well, how do you go from this big fleet to actually monetizing the fleet in an autonomous situation? And it's actually a combination of like, it's like Airbnb and Uber to some degree. So like there'll be some cars that Tesla owns itself, and it's kind of like an Uber fashion. But then for the fleet that is owned by our customers, it will be like an Airbnb thing. You can add or subtract your car to the fleet whenever you want. So you can say like, I'm going away for a week, at just one tap on your Tesla app, your car gets added to the fleet, and it just makes money for you while you're gone. Yeah. So you can say you can add it to the fleet for a few hours, for a few days, for a few weeks. Whenever you want it back, you can say come back, and car will come right back. And I'm highly confident that it will far exceed the value, like the revenue made by the owner of the car will far exceed the actual monthly payment. And then Tesla will obviously take a rev share on that, but most of the money will go to the owner of the car. And this is actually going to work. This is what will happen. So I mean, mark my words, this is simply a matter of time. Now, admittedly, I'm a little optimistic sometimes. You know, so I don't have complete lack of self-awareness. But if I wasn't optimistic, this wouldn't exist. This factory wouldn't exist, you know? So.
So, you know, that's what my brother, who's awesome, he's here, just got reelected. No, sorry, those things. So, it's like a little anecdote. Like when we were kids in school, my brother would tell me the wrong time for the bus so that I wouldn't miss the bus. And then I'd be upset with him, like, why'd you tell me the bus was going to come earlier than it was? And he's like, well, because otherwise you'd be late for the bus. This is an actual thing that would happen. So I guess I've been sort of pathologically optimistic from birth. But that's the reason all this stuff is happening anyway. It's like I got to be somewhat pathologically optimistic, but I do deliver in the end. That's the important thing. So yeah, and it's really just going to be something else. I mentioned this before, but like for ARK Invest, I'd recommend reading the ARK Invest analysis. That's the most accurate. There may be more accurate ones, but the most accurate sort of analysis of the potential of autonomy. The most accurate that I'm aware of is Kathy Wood's ARK Invest. And if I recall correctly, they predicted somewhere over a $5 trillion valuation for Tesla just based on vehicle autonomy, not counting Optimus. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. So I think just based on vehicle autonomy, we can 10x, more than 10x the value of the company. I believe that's what will happen. Hey, no, it's just what do you know? It's 4:20 p.m. I just noticed that. So, you know. So I think that's actually, I think that's pretty accurate. But it actually gets way crazier when you think about the Optimus robot, which is really a humanoid robot that is intended to, be able to do anything you want it to do, to be, your companion. It can be at your house. It can sort of babysit your kids. It could teach them, be a teacher. It can do factory stuff. I think that the ultimate ratio of, say, how many super useful humanoid helper droids do you want? Like, who doesn't want a C-3PO? But a C-3PO plus R2-D2 plus, plus. It would be pretty awesome. I think everyone in the world is going to want one, like literally everyone. And then there'll be obviously robots in industry, making stuff, and so I mean I think the ratio of humanoid robots to humans will probably be at least 2 to 1, something like that. 1 to 1 for sure. So which means like somewhere on the order of 10 billion humanoid robots, maybe 20 or 30, and so then it's like, okay, well, let's say. You kind of make, let's say the build rate is, I think the build rate will be probably something ultimately like 1 billion a year, humanoid robots, like actually. And if Tesla just has a 10% share of that, and it might be a lot more than 10%, and there's, who make like 100 million Optimus units a year. For reference, the auto industry is roughly 100 million vehicles per year. So that, sort of similar ballpark, at least within an order of magnitude. And I think we could make one for a cost of maybe, at really high scale, of about $10,000. It's smaller, it'll be less expensive than a car. So, and I think if you sell it for $20,000 or something, this is at large scale volume, Tesla would basically make about $1 trillion of profit a year from that. So, yeah. If the price earnings multiple is, say, I don't know, 20 or 25, something like that, that would mean a $20 trillion market cap from Optimus alone. And probably 5 to 10 from autonomous vehicles. So, like, I think it's actually conceivable, it's within the realm of possibility for Tesla to achieve a valuation 10 times that of the most valuable company today. So when I say this is like we're starting a new book, I mean, it's going to be the best book. Next level, next level. No, we need to make sure these robots are nice to us, and you know, that's very important. Yeah. So anyway, so with that, let me get into the presentation. Blah 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 blah. Oh man. I think it might be worth us just putting a word limit on future shareholder Tesla proposals. It's like you can't have like a novel length, you know. It's kind of like you can't have a whole novel as a Tesla proposal. So anyway, as you can see, our impact is accelerating. You know, we're starting to make a real noticeable dent in carbon emissions. So we're really, you know, making a lot of progress towards achieving our goal of sustainability. And one of the effects of autonomy is going to be an even greater effect on carbon emissions, because I suspect that we'll go from passenger cars having about 10 hours of usage per week, about an hour and a half per day, to probably a third of the hours in the week, maybe 50, 55 hours, which means the same car will be used 5 times more often. So you need a certain amount of resources to make the car, but it'll have 5 times the usage, in my opinion. I think that's quite likely, which will be an even more dramatic impact on carbon emissions. So, you know, we care a lot about sustainable manufacturing. Our factories are beautiful. Like, you walk around the factory, it's actually, you know, contrary to these, like, what you read in the press, it's like a good vibe in the factory. Like, people are smiling and happy. It's like, it's nice. So yeah. So I mean, we do care. We actually do care a lot at Tesla about doing the right thing, and we you know, we're not going to be perfect, but we do care a lot about doing the right thing. So our vehicles are water efficient, energy efficient. You know, we try whenever possible to use renewables for powering the factory, and you know, do our best to do the right thing. Our batteries are lasting longer. I got too many things in my hand. Anyway, the batteries are lasting a lot longer, which is good. Safety is good in the factory. We're improving the affordability of EVs. You know, Model Y is comparable to a BMW X3, but its actual cost of ownership on a monthly basis is much lower. We were #1 in EVs globally last year, so yeah. So, yeah. So let's see. And congrats to the Tesla team on making 6 million vehicles all time. So I mean, the Tesla fleet is really becoming very substantial. I mean, it's going to be 7 million vehicles by the end of this year, over 7 million vehicles. So,
And our factory in Fremont is currently the highest volume auto factory in North America. So, and we broke the prior production record from when it was new me. So it's actually pretty wild that we have a giant car factory in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's not exactly the cheapest place to have a car factory. It's like that in the Swiss Alps or something, you know. But we still managed to make great cars at high volume, and that's a testament to the great team we've got in Fremont. So congrats to the Fremont team. And a lot of people were saying the Cybertruck is like fake; it's never going to come out. Now we're shipping a lot of Cybertrucks. We hit a weekly record of 1,300. And I think that with the Cybertruck, it really is something special. Like, people sometimes have like different opinions on the Cybertruck, but if you really want to know if something is cool, if it's a great product, like show it to a kid, okay? Like no filter, okay? The kid's got like no filter, like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, something like that, or even 3-year-old, and say, which car do you like? Cybertruck. So it's like, that's how you know. It's finally something that it just looks like the future. And it drives so well. It's comfortable. It's just a fantastic product. I think it's our best product, and it's a lot of innovation. It's got a 48 volts low voltage system. Finally, instead of 12 volts, 800 volt drivetrain, the world's biggest castings. It's bulletproof. All the cool things can outpull a F350 diesel, which is a very impressive truck, and it can it can do a quarter mile faster than a Porsche 911 while towing a Porsche 911. So that's insane. So yeah. And if you think about it, like how often do companies make products that move your heart, that are really special? It's so rare, and I think this is one of them. So yeah. And we launched the upgraded 3, which is actually a fantastic car. I recommend trying it out. It's really a great car. And it's only $216 after gas savings, like total cost of ownership. It's basically $200 and something when compared to a gasoline car, a similar gasoline car. So it's really a great deal and a fun car. And the performance, Model 3 performance is, well, it's like, faster than a Porsche 911. It's just a great car. So, yeah. So, yeah. And of course, Model Y became the best-selling vehicle globally. And this is something that we predicted. I think I said in like 2022, Model Y would be the biggest car in the world by dollar volume sales, and that 2023 it would be the biggest in unit volume, and it was. And again, this year it will be the best-selling car on earth. So, yeah. Obviously we've got the Tesla Semi. We're in low volume production of the Tesla Semi, and just last week I approved the plans for volume production of the Tesla Semi. So we're going to make a lot of semi-trucks. We're going to start off with, yeah, it's something, I think it'll actually move the needle financially. It's not like, it's not a small thing. And the thing about like commercial vehicles is that companies that use them are super objective. It's not like, it's actually, I mean, obviously we're going to make it have cool style and be an awesome car, but for commercial vehicles, the companies that make the buying decisions, they just look at it and say, like, what are the numbers? Like, is this cost less to transport or cost more to transport than say, a diesel truck? And the thing is that the economics are much better than a diesel truck. It's kind of basically a no-brainer. If you're a transport company, you don't use the Tesla electric semi, you're just losing money. Why would you do that? Do you not like money? Okay. But if you do like money, then I recommend using the Tesla Semi. And so I think this is really going to actually sell at a scale that people will be surprised at, and will actually move the needle financially and do a lot of good, and also for CO2 and sustainability, because semis are driven all the time. Actually, even at much smaller numbers, they have a very big effect on total carbon emissions solved. So obviously we've got some new products that we're working on under the covers, and I think these are I think these are going to be pretty special. So you know, some of them I think people maybe at first may think, oh, it's not going to be that amazing, but just wait, it will be. So. So our Supercharger network is continuing to grow. You know, rumors of the death of the Supercharger are greatly exaggerated. We are, in fact, continuing to grow the Supercharger network significantly. In fact, this year, I think we'll deploy more Superchargers this year that are actually working than the rest of industry combined. Just FYI. So now we are going to be more careful about, like, you know, the capital efficiency of where we deploy superchargers. But for sure, any place that has congestion, any sort of missing parts of the map that we're missing, we're going to put the superchargers there. So even for the remainder of the year, we expect to spend about $500 million on supercharger deployment. So it's very significant, and it'd be a well-spent $500 million. So this is, you know, it's a lot. So, and this is actually not showing a bunch of new markets that will be opening up later this year and next. So we're obviously we want Tesla to be worldwide, and this is a lot of countries that we, you know, have 0 to very few Teslas, and we want Tesla everywhere. So there are a lot of new markets that we're going to open up later this year and next. We're also opening the superchargers to other companies with the that's the adapter to the old somewhat clunky connector. But our goal is to be helpful to other car companies. So any other car companies that are going electric, we do want to be helpful to them with our supercharger network. So we're providing them with adapters and enabling them to have access to the Tesla supercharging network, because we think it's better to do that than to create a walled garden that inhibits EV growth. Oops, there was a bit of latency here. And we're also innovating a lot in battery production with the 4680 that's built right here. And it's a hard problem, you know. Like there are entire companies that just make battery cells. That's all they do. but we're making good progress. Like all the Cybertrucks that you see use the Tesla 4680 cell. We have a clear path to the 4680 being, we think, probably the most competitive cell from a manufacturing efficiency standpoint. And so it is a hard problem, I have to say. There's quite a lot of brain damage required to be good at cell manufacturing. It's like a brain damage high. But I think it does give Tesla resilience in the face of if there are changes in the, I don't know, geopolitical situation somehow. But it's good to have some independence in cell manufacturing. Yeah, and we're making steady progress, and we also have the cathode refinery, which you can see behind the main factory. So you can sort of see it in the picture there. That's the cathode refinery, and then we've got the lithium refinery in South Texas. And so we're just making sure we've kind of got the pieces of the puzzle. I mean, if you were to look at sort of a video of how Tesla does, say, cathode and lithium refining and how the rest of industry does it, it's night and day. I mean, you can sort of eat off the floor in the Tesla refinery, and I would not recommend doing so in the others. So, you know, we're definitely going very, very vertical here. But I think this is it's a wise investment that will pay off more than people realize. So. I don't think this thing's working. So this year, we're also on track to complete a massive number of energy deployments. So that is a gigantic increase in deployment capability. We seem to be tracking to sort of a 200% to 300% year-over-year growth in energy storage deployment and stationary pack. So it's giant. And the limiting factor really is being able to build more megapacks and build more Powerwalls. So we're ramping up production of the Powerwall 3, which is really a game changer for at the personal level. The Powerwall 3, it usually takes about 3 iterations of any given technology to really, for it to be something where it's like, okay, now we're really hitting the sweet spot. So Powerwall 3 is like an epic product. The Megapack is also, I'd call it sort of iteration 2 of the Megapack is also an epic product. With the Megapack 3, which is, I don't know, probably a couple years away, we'll start actually absorbing more and more of the substation of the sort of power electronics. So, because I sort of think you want to get to the point with the Megapack where you can literally just take the high voltage power lines and plug them in. There's no substation. We just plug them in. Just drop them down and drop it down and plug it in. And now it works. Which is like mind-blowing for the utility industry, by the way. Like, they're like, what? Yeah, you just plug the wires in and it'll work for very high voltage. So that I think is actually going to be a major. So this is anyway. So yeah, this is great. Excellent work by the energy storage team. Services and other are also looking good. So we're actually now making money on the services and other stuff. So this is kind of a big deal. Right? Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, and Tesla's obviously way more than a car company. We do a lot of software at Tesla. About, I don't know, roughly half or a very huge percentage of the engineering we do is actually software engineering. So Tesla's, I'd say, as much a software company as it is a hardware company. This is a very big deal because car companies are not software companies normally. So this matters a lot. So things like our Orbiter software for energy storage, all of the software that controls the cars, the megapacks, the power walls, the solar, obviously for AI and full self-driving are a big deal, insurance, service and collision. Tesla also writes a lot of software internally that helps, that like we call like the Tesla operating system internally, that is head and shoulders above what any other company has. I think probably better than any Fortune 500 company. The Tesla internal software is just way better. So it's just far more than what people normally think of as a car company. And Tesla is also the leader in real-world AI. So there's really, this is a big deal. Like Tesla is ahead of Google, Meta, OpenAI, anyone on real-world software, actually taking in video and making decisions based on video. No one is even close. And it's getting better, I'd say, with each passing month, if not each passing week. So, yeah. And it's also worth noting that Tesla is actually pretty good at chip design. So the AI inference chip that was designed by Tesla that's in cars, we had sort of our hardware 3 AI inference cars made over the past year have the hardware 4. We've just completed design on hardware 5, which we're now calling AI 5, because it's really is. There still actually is not a chip from NVIDIA or from, and I have a lot of respect for NVIDIA, from any company that we would prefer to put in our car that is better than what we have in the car. So, we started from scratch in chip design, just as we started from scratch in AI software, and have the best real-world AI software and the best AI inference chip in the world from nothing. So this is, a big deal. And the capability of the chips in the car is dramatic. Like, I mean, right now, all the cars are actually training. Like we have hardware 4 run hardware 3 in emulation mode. So we'll continue to make significant progress in hardware 3, but later this year we'll actually bifurcate, continue working on hardware 3, on training on hardware 3, but then do separate training on hardware 4. That'll be the sort of training cluster that we're building at the south side of the Gigafactory, and that'll be dedicated hardware 4 video and inference. And so the hardware 4 has cameras that have about 4 or 5 times better resolution, and depending on how you count the sort of hardware 4, it's about anywhere from 3 to 8 times better than hardware 3. So, but everything you're seeing thus far is just hardware 3, and we still have a long way to go before we reach the limits of hardware 3. So hardware 3, I think will do amazing things, but hardware 4, I think will probably do about 5 times better. Then hardware 5, which comes out in about 18 months or so, is 10 times more capable than hardware 4. It's like a sort of, if you know NVIDIA hardware, it's sort of a B200 class computer. That's like this. So what we'll just progressively do is improve how many nines of reliability the car gets. And then of course that will go into Optimus as well. So the same chip will go into hardware 4 will go into Optimus. Is an Optimus.
AI5, which we're calling switching from hardware 5 to AI5, will be in Optimus and in all cars in about 18 months. And it's really just a staggering amount of compute. And it's very power efficient compute. So it's got to be, because if you're in a mobile application like a humanoid robot or a car, you can't just be sucking down 10 kilowatts, like you can in a data center. So you've got to be very power efficient. So the, sort of hardware 3 and 4 are only a few hundred watts. Yeah, this is hard. Now, hardware 5 will be able to go probably up to about 700 or 800 watts, but it'll power fluctuate contingent upon the complexity of the scene that it is in. So if it is in a parking lot stationary, it's like don't have to think very much. Just like a person. Like if you're in a complicated traffic scenario, you've got to think a lot more than if you're just cruising along, on an empty road. But something that I think is potentially interesting down the road is, like at some point, the Tesla fleet, I think, will probably be, over 100 million vehicles. And if each vehicle has a kilowatt of efficient inference compute, I think there's sort of an Amazon Web Services, AWS type opportunity, because if you've got 100 million vehicles with a kilowatt of efficient inference compute, you've got 100 gigawatts of compute. Like 100 gigawatts of compute is a lot, and it's distributed all over the world. So when the car is not in autonomous mode, which I think probably is, doing robotaxi work maybe 50, 60 hours a week, but about 100 hours a week, it's not, it's probably stationary. So there's 100 hours of 100 gigawatts of inference compute, which I think we should use. Why not? When people looked at Amazon, which started out obviously as an online bookseller, and it's done, has grown to be like this incredible place where you can buy anything, and then Amazon Web Services, like, well, they got all these computers that only really see peak usage sometimes, but what are they going to do when it's not peak usage? And sometimes the Amazon servers are down like 10%. So that's when they said, well, let's do Amazon Web Services. And then Amazon Web Services became more valuable than the entire rest of Amazon. And I think there's some kind of opportunity there that's pretty significant for Tesla down the road. Again, that's really, nobody's really factoring that in. But I think that actually will be quite significant. We also are no longer compute constrained for training. So I check in with the team. It's like, is there anything we could do to improve the pace of progress with respect to training and inference? And currently that is not the limiting factor. In fact, the limiting factor right now is that the amount of miles between interventions is so long that it takes quite a while to figure out which version is better than the other version, because none of them are requiring any interventions. So it's like, if you start getting to like thousands of miles between interventions, or you're like 10,000 miles to get an intervention, then the average person only drives about 10,000 miles in a year. And if it's in an urban environment, and the average speed is 20 miles an hour, so our professional test drivers get pretty bored, frankly. They're like, okay, I drove all week, and there was no intervention. Like the highlight of the week would be like, yes, an intervention, finally. It's like getting to that point. So this is where actually having a giant fleet is extremely important, because we can deploy a new FSD model and run it in shadow mode and see how well it performs. Compare how the human drives the car versus the new self-driving build, and then analyze that delta in shadow mode, like the shadow knows, or doesn't know, as the case may be, and then be able to assess by getting billions of miles very quickly with the giant fleet. Like that, basically, that data engine is incredibly helpful. Like actually, it's not possible to solve the self-driving problem without having millions of vehicles on the road. So, so that's actually is like figuring out clever ways to test how good the next FSD build is actually the limiting factor right now. And then of course, like I said, we are building another training data center right here, which will be dedicated to Hardware 4 training. So we'll bifurcate Hardware 3 and Hardware 4 training later this year. We'll keep improving Hardware 3, but we're going to uncork the full capability of Hardware 4 as well. So, yeah. And I think most people here have tried out version 12. We did say like unsupervised full self-driving would be version 12. So we are actually just keeping the version arbitrarily at 12, and then like calling it 12.4, 12.3, 12.4, 12.5. But it's actually really like version 13, version 14. But anyway, this is an arbitrary designation. So 12.4 is actually like a whole different version than 12.3, and 12.5 is a whole different version than 12.4. So you'll see really giant improvements, I think sometimes factor of 10 improvements between successive versions. And then, as I mentioned, the way it'll work for the existing fleet is you'll be able to add or subtract your car to the fleet as you'd like. And there will also be Tesla-owned cars. So it'll be a combination of like Uber plus Airbnb. But it'll be pretty wild that there'll be a software update, and then the whole fleet suddenly becomes accessible. It's like suddenly you've got 7 million, 10 million cars that can, ultimately tens of millions of cars that can do autonomous driving, and instead of being used 10 hours a week, can be used 50 or 60 hours a week. So it's pretty wild to just be in Palo Alto with a bunch of cubes, and then a humanoid robot just walks past. We've made a massive amount of progress with Optimus in a short period of time, from someone pretending to be a robot dancing in a suit, to a pretty hodgepodgey robot, to a robot that is actually doing useful tasks in the factory today. So we have 2 Optimus robots in our Fremont factory that are doing basically this task, which is taking cells off the end of the line and placing them in a shipping container. And yeah, we actually have quite a few of these cruising around our offices in Palo Alto. So there's, and I think we've got kind of like one major hardware revision, which should be done by end of this year or early next, and then we'll move into a limited production next year of Optimus. Limited production for use in our factories, where we'll test out the product, kind of, as I say, sort of eat our own dog food or whatever the electronic equivalent of that is. But I think like next year, my prediction is next year we'll have over 1,000, maybe a few thousand Optimus robots working at Tesla. And things are going to scale up very rapidly from there. So we'll iron out the bugs. Like the degree of autonomy will be radically better. You'll just literally be able to talk to it and say, please do this task, or I'm going to show you something. Now do the thing that I'm showing you. get to the point where it can watch a video of something like a person and then learn just by looking at that video and do that task. So, yeah. So really it's going to be quite something. And I'm confident of the prediction that there will be more, like the ratio of humanoid robots to humans will be greater than 1-to-1. So that there'll be, more than 10 billion humanoid robots in the world, probably 20 or more. And Tesla is going to be by far the leader in that. You're seeing a lot of robot startups, but I think it's actually very challenging to do Optimus as a robot startup, because what we found, to make Optimus work, we've had to design from first principles, from scratch, every part of the robot. So the motor, the gearbox, the sensors, the power electronics, the communication system, everything had to be done from scratch. We found that there's basically nothing, there's no supply chain. So even though there are many electric motors made in the world, there's no supply chain for the types of motors and sensors and gearboxes that are needed for a humanoid robot. And what you're seeing here is our current generation hand and arm, but our next which has 11 degrees of freedom. Our next generation has 22 degrees of freedom. It will be able to play the piano. So it's really like, wow. Now, of course, like I said, we need to make sure we don't have the Terminator scenario. That's very important. So safety of the humanoid robot will be very important. But because it requires so much ground-up designing every motor, gearbox, sensor, power electronics from scratch, it's very hard for a startup to, if not impossible, for a startup to replicate that. But at Tesla, we have the world's best electrical engineering. I think we've got the world's best mechanical engineering for gearboxes and for electric motors, power electronics. So we have the resources to do that. It applies quite well. And then you also have to have the brain. You need a power-efficient inference computer, which we've got for the car, and we'll be using an Optimus. You need AI. You need to be the best in real-world AI, and Tesla's the best in real-world AI. So you need all of these. You need a very strong hand of cards in order to make a compelling robot. And then you also need to be very good at scale manufacturing. So in order to have the robot not cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars, in order to make it cost like $10,000 or $20,000, you actually need to design for manufacturing and be very good at manufacturing. And in my experience, prototypes are easy compared to volume manufacturing. Prototypes are easy, production is hard, relatively speaking. So Tesla has the production capability, it has the engineering capability, and it has the AI hardware and software capability. And even the most optimistic estimates that I've seen for Optimus, the optimist, I think undercount the magnitude of what this robot will be able to do. As I said at the beginning of the presentation, I agree with the ARK Invest analysis that autonomous transport is called sort of a $5 to $7 trillion market cap situation. Optimus, I think, is a literally $25 trillion market cap situation. So. Now, I don't want to trivialize what's necessary to get there. I mean, it's an immense amount of work that is required to get there, like super difficult. But we are moving very fast down that road, and we're going to make it happen. So, thank you. I guess with that, we can go to Q&A. Sorry? Yeah. I guess we've got mics lined up. Dive for the mic.
Hey, Elon. Last year, I thanked you for making the world a better place for my son to live in. And I wasn't clear. In particular, I was referring to what you've done for the First Amendment and our rights.
Thank you.
History will not forget it, and the sacrifices you made and the risks you took will pay off and have paid off.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I very much appreciate that. I think you have to say, like, why was the First Amendment so important? Is because, people came here from places where if they spoke their mind, they'd be put in prison or killed, or just shut out from society, ostracized. So freedom of speech is absolutely fundamental to a good future. And yeah, that's the reason for, acquiring Twitter and trying to, just making it a free speech platform. I think it was very important to just the future of civilization. So, thank you.
Hey, Elon. My name's Ronnie. I'm on your right side. How's it going? Hey. I work for Tesla sales in Orland Park, Illinois, and I was always wondering, do you think Tesla could ever move forward towards bundling software as like a package to, possibly increase take rate for FSD, maybe bundle it with premium connectivity and future software options?
I think we definitely want to encourage people to try FSD, and one of the things that I think probably makes sense is that when we have a significant improvement, every time we have a significant improvement in FSD, give people, give all customers a 2-week free trial. So like, hey, we've made an improvement to FSD, try it for another 2 weeks. With 12.4, we finally get rid of the steering wheel nag, which I know is driving people crazy. Yeah. Thank heaven for small mercies. Even just something like that, not having the steering wheel nag, and obviously having a far lower intervention count, far more miles between interventions. So I think keep sort of offering people free trials of FSD every time we make a significant improvement. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah. it's when you hear the speakers, you're like, ears don't work,
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
2 questions actually. First, after $56 billion, you can afford to probably take your kids to Disneyland now. Is that where you're going?
Well, I mean, by the way, it is worth emphasizing that it's Tesla stock that I have to own for 5 years. So, it's not possible to it's not actually cash, and I can't cut and run, nor would I want to. I've actually been to Disneyland, Disney World many times with kids. It's a little tough for me to go these days without causing a ruckus. Maybe I should just wear a Mickey Mouse outfit and just go and, pretend I'm one of the people.
So as we work on autonomy and we're getting to that threshold where things are getting to a seriously advanced level, eventually there are going to be some harsh consequences. It's part of breaking through, right? And I'm just curious where your mind is at on that, and have you thought about, some of those early consequences that we're unfortunately going to have in order to have a better, safer future? I'm just wondering.
You mean like scary robots or what?
No, in the cars with full self-driving.
Okay.
We've seen some companies that there's been some unfortunate mishaps, and they've just straight up closed shop, and I know that's not the plan, but those are real consequences of developing this technology, and I'm just wondering where your mind is at on that.
Yeah, well, we do try to be very careful with the deployment of FSD, and we do have a lot of cars. So what, inevitably, when there are a lot of cars and you've got billions of miles, you do have the law of large numbers, where okay, there's a small chance of something bad happening, but when you look at the sort of safety per mile, because we've got a lot of miles, it's very clear that the safety per mile is better than human driving. So. So when we can show that to regulators and obviously make our case to the public and say, like, actually, human driving is not perfect. There's a person killed roughly every 80 million miles. So like 35, 40,000 people are killed every year in the U.S. from auto accidents. What matters is, like, are we making that number smaller? And as long as we're making that number smaller, we're doing the right thing. Thank you.
Hey, Elon, this is Bikash. I have one question.
Sure.
So we know that we love you all. We love from our bottom of the heart. We love you so much, Elon.
Thank you.
My question is, like, we all know Tesla will be the most valuable company in the world one day.
Yeah.
We just want to know if you have any prediction when and what is the inflection point. When we can say this is the inspection point, is it solving the FSD, or is it like Optimus on ground will be the point from your perspective?
Well, as I mentioned before, I think it's worth looking at the ARK Invest analysis. I think that is the most accurate analysis. Their prediction is, I think, $5 to $7 trillion by 2029. Market cap. So more than 10 times what things are today in 5 years. I think that is accurate.
Thank you. Thank you, Elon.
All right.
Hey, Elon.
Hey.
Hey, huge fan, and I think history will show that you've had a profound impact on humanity. So I think that's just given. And just a couple of questions, I guess. I fixed my Tesla addiction by putting cars on Turo, and I found that about half my renters is the first time they're driving a Tesla, and then the other half really want to buy one after they've tried it out. So I guess a couple questions. When could we expect maybe the referral program to come back, if it would come back? And
Sure.
Could we also get a passenger van, like a 12-passenger van, sometime soonish?
I'll add that to my list. So the referral program, I think we'll re-examine the referral program probably next quarter, it is very important to sort of look at what is the fully considered cost of a Tesla. So if with the referral program, it effectively increases the price of the car. So, is the price increase, what is better for the end customer? A slight price increase because of the referral program or not? But I think we'll re-examine that, I think, in next quarter and see if it makes sense. I think some kind of referral program does make sense. But I think for a lot of people, by far the biggest thing we see is that people just can't afford the car. That's the biggest thing. That's the limiter on demand. You can imagine in the limit if there was, say, an 18, if Model Y cost less than $20,000, it would sell probably 5 million units. It would be insane. So now that's not feasible, today, but I think working on figuring out ways to make more affordable vehicles is really the game changer. For most people, it is really not a question of whether they want a Tesla. They do want a Tesla. They simply do not have enough money to afford one. So we have to make it affordable. That's essential. Thank you.
Hey, Elon. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Hamza. First off, thank you for introducing me to Anurbeck. He and I are now close thanks to you. And I moved to Austin thanks to you. So my question is basically, for FSD transfer, I think that should be something that should be ongoing. I think not only on the benefit of you for getting more people on the fleet and getting, statistics and info, but also as Tesla owners, it makes us want to get the next model and transfer over. For instance, the thing that's been holding me back is wanting to wait for the FSD transfer again. So is there a reason why you haven't implemented that for like ongoing time?
It is pretty complex for us to do this. It sort of it adds a fair bit of complexity to the sales process. Yeah, and it is tough because we've got to earn revenue somehow. So, transfer is tough. But we sorry? One more quarter. Okay, one more quarter. All right. You got it. One more quarter. All right. So, yeah. All right.
Oh, Elon, thank you for hosting us. If you can see me, I'm trembling uncontrollably. I really look up to you, shareholder, consumer, tripled my humble, tiny little portion of your shares the last 2 days, just being engaged, knowing we're coming here, and appreciate you hosting up shareholders, and it just means so much to us.
You're welcome.
You're an absolute idol. This question comes because I care about you as a human being, but in the context of being a shareholder, unlocking these values of Optimus, we need you. And just with all the global uncertainty, you're so high profile, just want to make sure you're doing everything to take care of yourself, safety, and health for the future of the company. I say that because I care about you as a person, but since this is a shareholder meeting, in the spirit of shareholder value.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind sentiments. Yeah, I think I probably need to work out, and and not get assassinated or something. I mean, it is getting a little crazy these days. To first approximation, the probability that a homicidal maniac will try to kill you is proportionate to how many homicidal maniacs hear your name. Okay. So they hear my name a lot. I'm like, okay, I'm on the list, So, yeah, so we actually did have 2 homicidal maniacs in the last roughly 7 months come to aspirationally try to kill me and a bunch of other people. So it's not just me. And there wasn't like an actual issue that they articulated. They were just, in the homicidal maniac career. So, so I do need to be kind of careful. It does, which is not great because it forces me to be a bit more sort of standoffish, and so now I've stopped signing things because something. Because that'll be a sure way to homicidal maniac. I'll just have to sign something and then shoot him, type of thing. So then I have to be more standoffish and stuff, which I prefer not to be, but it seems wise. Think of John Lennon, who was singing about hey, can't we all just be nice to each other? And then he got shot, by one of his fans. You're like, okay, we'll try to avoid that. So. Anyway, I appreciate the kind sentiments. I will endeavor to stay alive and keep, yeah. So, all right.
Hi, Elon. I was reading an article the other day. Is Tesla still have somewhere in the product timeline a home HVAC system in the works?
A home interact system. We do not have a home interact system that I'm aware of. No, we do not one.
HVAC system.
Oh, HVAC. Oh, yeah. HVAC. Yeah, sure. Yeah, in the list of things that would be more useful than, or it would be nice to do, would be a great HVAC system that is very power efficient. Has a built-in HEPA filter, and take a lot of the things that we've learned in the car and apply that to home HVAC.
because I actually, maybe there is a great home HVAC system out there, but I haven't found it, which is pretty wild. And just building in the filtration system and being able to sort of maybe also control humidity somewhat and like I said, be super efficient and quiet, which are all things that we do in the car. That would be a pretty sweet thing to do. Maybe we can combine that with the Powerwall or something. On the list of things to do, that is not super high, but it would be cool to do that one day.
Hi, Elon. This is Sandeep. I just want to thank you for making the Cybertruck.
You're welcome.
Yeah, kids love it. Really,
Yeah,
my
kids
4
love
and
it.
6-year-old, they love it.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Kids, it's like amazing. It's like
I went to Disney last week. Nobody looks at Disney. Everybody looks at Cybertruck.
yeah.
There's a funny story, if you may allow. So we were preparing my daughter. We went to Destin, and then from there we were driving to Disney, and then we were preparing my daughter to. She's 4 years to just get used to the lines, and you have to have a lot of patience to get in the line. And she's like, Dada, why don't we just say we'll show you our Cybertruck and then we'll cut the lines? I mean, she got used to it because we were driving Superchargers, and then everybody was coming over, taking pictures.
Sure.
It's a funny story,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have a request. Would you allow 6-year-old to tour the factory maybe someday in the future? Right now it's capped at 12 years.
Okay.
Even though we have referral rewards, it's capped at 12 years. Would you allow the kids to tour the factory? Maybe they can see the robots.
Sure.
Maybe make an event or something like that.
Yeah, maybe we could have we're just worried about kid safety and stuff, in case a kid goes running off into the robot cell or something. But yeah, we could, I think, maybe have a more limited tour that's, enables younger kids to go. Sure, we'll do that. All right. Let's see. Yeah, okay.
Donald Trump has been a big critic of electric vehicles. But last week, he surprised us by saying he's a big fan of Tesla and a big fan of you.
Yeah.
What did you tell him?
Well, I can be persuasive. Actually, I don't exactly know why he. This is a good question. I mean, I have had some conversations with him, and he does call me out of the blue for no reason. I don't know why, but he does, and it's like he's very nice when he calls, and and I was like, electric cars I think are pretty good for the future. America's the leader in electric cars. Buy America and stuff, and. And I think he actually, a lot of his friends now have Teslas, and they will love it, and he's a huge fan of the Cybertruck. So I think those may be contributing factors. Yeah.
Hey, Elon, on your right.
Sorry, yeah.
My name's Keanu, a longtime fan of your brand and company and everything. I'm wondering, when you take the driver out of the seat for the driverless car, how do you plan to handle interventions, which I'm sure will happen at some rate, even if they're rare?
Yeah, so clearly we want to make sure that if there's no driver in the car, the probability of a severe intervention is extremely low. We want to make sure that the car is extremely cautious around vulnerable road users like cyclists or pedestrians. So really, we'd want the probability of hurting a pedestrian or cyclist to be incredibly low, way lower than someone driving a car. Now, then there are interventions that happen where the car is simply gets stuck down a one-way street with a crazy construction situation. But in which case it'll basically phone home and say, "Help! I'm stuck." And then I think we can probably solve a lot of these things just by, remoting into the car and kind of steering it like a giant RC car.
That's what I'm guessing. That's what I think we'll do. Thank you.
Hey, Elon, Anwarbek from Kazakhstan. Thanks for installing superchargers. I just want to acknowledge Tesla, Boomer Mama, and Sawyer Merritt for all the efforts that they organize the.
Yeah.
There's a after party to celebrate at Luster Pearl East. If you guys want to come and celebrate all the efforts for the community. Congratulations, Elon.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for hosting today, Elon. It's about 4 years since you did Battery Day and drew out those very ambitious targets of getting to 1 terawatt-hour of batteries. And earlier in your presentation, you alluded to the great difficulty of scaling up this new technology. I think as shareholders, we're most interested, can you tell us a little bit more, because in terms of affordability, which you also mentioned as this huge burden, these 4680s get manufacturing credits and also on the consumer side get large credits as well. If you could scale that so that we could produce full level of Cybertrucks and also start to put them back in the Y and the 3, potentially it would greatly improve affordability and be great in terms of scale.
Sure. So achieving affordability is actually, at this point, more about the rest of the car than it is actually about the battery pack. So the price per kilowatt hour of cells from suppliers has dropped dramatically. So there was a massive spike for a few years in the cost of lithium-ion cells from suppliers because every car manufacturer put in gigantic orders for battery packs, like giant orders. So the price of lithium and like all the raw materials and the battery cells went crazy. It doubled. Like the price of cells doubled. Price of lithium, I think, went up at almost like five-fold or like 500%. Like went up crazy numbers. So since then, the demand, like suppliers, battery cell suppliers, have increased their supply, and the orders from other car manufacturers have declined. So I mean, it is worth noting that it's tough sledding out there for EVs. You know, GM announced, I think, a 50% reduction recently in their EVs. Ford announced reductions. I think almost every manufacturer has announced reductions in their electric vehicle plans. Now Tesla, we're going to increase, but it is not an easy market. But to get the cost of the car down, it's really the battery pack is a piece of the puzzle, but it's really everything else too. So I really would describe like we're making a car more affordable. It's like Game of Thrones, but pennies. Game of pennies. So there's, quote to first approximation, 10,000 unique items in a car, and if each one costs $5, or then you've got a $50,000 car. So to actually get the cost of the car down, you've got to chisel away pennies, and to get the 10,000 items to be, $3 instead of $5. That's kind of what it amounts to. Now, with respect to our own cell production, we do see a path to cost parity by the end of this year. A very difficult path to cost parity. Currently, our 4680s cost more than our suppliers. Now, they cost more than the suppliers today, but they cost less than the suppliers a year ago. So, there's a bit of a feast-famine thing with battery cell supply. It's kind of like for DRAM chips. Like the DRAM industry goes from oversupply to undersupply. The price of DRAM changes like crazy. It's kind of like that for cells. But we expect to achieve cost parity with even the much lower supplier cell price today by the end of the year. Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Musk. I've been a long-term investor since 2012.
Great. Wow.
And I
That's
voted
awesome.
for your compensation package in 2018 and again this year. and shout out to Tesla Boomer Mama, Alexandra. I had the privilege to talk to you in 2013 briefly, and you spoke about the truck, which became the Cybertruck. You're a man of your word. I have friends all over the world, in Asia, Canada, and Europe, and I know the Cybertruck's been on tour. How's been the reception for the Cybertruck, and when will it be, or is it possible to sell, and when will it be sold internationally?
Yeah, so I think probably, we might be able to certify it for other markets sometime next year. But like for sure this year, it's just North America. We did design the car to North American requirements because if you start going with the superset of all international requirements, it forces a lot of constraints on Cybertruck that would make the product frankly worse. So I think we'll need to make a special version that is, for example, China compliant or Europe compliant. But it really doesn't make sense to add that complexity until we've achieved higher volume production on the Cybertruck. There's still a lot of work to do on cost down for the Cybertruck. I generally would say like the level of difficulty going from, say, prototype, you go from prototype to production, it's 100 times harder to go from prototype to production is 100 times harder. And then once you reach production, to improve the price by 20%, or the cost of goods by 20%, is harder than reaching production in the first place. Like, it's mega pain. It's like, and to be frank, it's not the funnest job in the world, Like chiseling pennies is not, it's like washing the dishes, frankly. Like wash a lot of dishes here. Like it's super fun to make prototypes. That's really fun, and it's kind of cool to get, it's pretty cool to get the production going. Then the cost grind is a grind. That is like, it's hard work. There's some reward to it. Like there's sort of a reward to washing the dishes, I guess. You have to clean dishes. But that is tough. So that's real hard work.
I just have to say that there's been a really big reception. Like I have friends that message me and said they love the Cybertruck design, and it's definitely a head turner. So. Oh
yeah, I think from a demand standpoint, we would have plenty of demand in other parts of the world for Cybertruck, no question. Like wherever it goes, anywhere in the world, it gets a massive crowd. So it's not a demand thing. It's really, we've got to reach volume production, go through the cost grind. It would be difficult for me to overstate the difficulty in the cost grind. It's really intense. And then we've got to recertify the car, which includes making some design changes to be compliant in other markets. All right.
Good afternoon, Elon.
Hey.
I like your shoes. I don't know if everybody else can see them.
Yeah, Cybertruck.
Out there. Cybertruck, yeah. My question was in regards to the Foundation series. Do you guys have a certain number that you are planning on making, or a timeline of when the non-Foundation series are going to come out?
Yeah, we'll start making we'll end the Foundation series actually pretty soon, and the non-Foundation series sometime next quarter. Yeah.
Hi, Elon. Thank you for delivering shareholder value, and congrats on your pay package.
Thank you.
And I'm Michael. I ask a lot of questions on the quarterly investor calls. And I wanted to ask you, can you give me a little bit more color on the neural net scaling laws that you're seeing as you're training FSD? Like how much data, how much more inference compute, how much more training compute do you need for each successive 9 in reliability of the full self-driving software? And how much data are you currently collecting? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, that's something that we go through really every week at Tesla. I spend a lot of time with the Tesla AI team, I think probably like a huge portion of. I mean, it's really like a big part of my job is like
okay, we need to get the car to drive itself. You know, yeah, you need to solve things on a chip level for inference, for training, for software. There's also massive data storage challenges because you've got petabytes of video coming in. And even for say, for a big NVIDIA cluster, it's actually really hard to make a big NVIDIA cluster actually work in training. It doesn't just open the box and plug it in. It's not like that at all. It's like massive effort required to get a big training cluster to operate at all and then operate with high uptime. So, I mean, with respect to like the various versions that we're seeing, like you go from version 12.3, well, like if you just ignore the 12 and think of it like 3, 4, 5, 6, that's actually the way to think about it. Ignore the 12 part and just call it like version 3, version 4, version 5. That's version 6. That's how to think about it. Between each one, there's anywhere from, I don't know, a minimum of a doubling of improvement to, in some cases, I think a 5 to 10-fold improvement. You know, especially as we eliminate sort of, say, I think we're close to eliminating almost all static object collisions. So, you know, like curves and medians, and like we're pretty close to having it to have almost zero static object collisions. So once you get to zero static object, now you have a gigantic improvement in miles between intervention. Then you get into classes of dynamic objects that are, you know, different classes, and different things can get obviously very complicated if you've got a complex intersection with traffic lights all over the place, and like somebody bumped the one traffic light and now it's pointing in the wrong direction, or the traffic light's broken, and there's someone who is not obeying the traffic laws because they're just running a red, or they got confused about the traffic light. So you get into these very complex situations that are much harder to solve. So, and then, like as I was saying earlier, it actually gets, as the system gets better, it gets harder to figure out which AI model is better. Because now, you know, like, okay, it's thousands of miles between intervention. How do we, as quickly as possible, figure out which AI model is better? And when you make these different AI models, they're obviously not like super deterministic. So you can have a new model that eliminates one problem, but creates another problem. So we're trying to solve this by a combination of simulation, uploading models, having them run in shadow mode. So it's actually kind of helpful that not everyone has full self-driving, because we can see, we can run it in shadow mode and see what would this new model have done compared to what the user did. So since we've got, you know, millions of cars that we can do this with, that gives us a delta between what the AI model predicted would do and the user would do. And if you kind of sum up the errors between them, you can see, oh, there was a bigger error stack from this model versus that model when you uploaded them into, we each uploaded them into 100,000 cars. But that's the biggest limiter right now. It's not training, it's not data, it's actually testing the AI models. And then figuring out clever ways to figure out if a new model is better or not. Like we know, like there are sort of particular intersections that are difficult. And so if we just, like all the models will be great at like driving on a well-painted road with no intersection. They'll all be great at that. But will they be great at the complicated? So we've identified several thousand intersections in the United States where we'll actually take the new model and try the car in those
those very difficult intersections, like the, you know, the sort of the famous like Chuck's left turn. Yeah. So if you imagine Chuck's left turn, hey Chuck. I wonder what the neighbors think. But there's many such complicated traffic situations in the country. So we've identified several thousand, which we then send cars to those locations to compare the models. And then, as I mentioned, we've yet to uncork any of the ability of Hardware 4, which we'll do later this year. So I think the exponential rate of improvement of miles between intervention will continue and will accelerate. Yeah. So.
Hey, Elon. I was wondering if, as you've called a Tesla basically a robot with wheels, and so I'm wondering, kind of as that logic transfers over to Optimus, what kind of will Tesla use any large language models on top of the current Tesla robotics capabilities, and also, if so, will Optimus have any kind of personality? And would that be something that the end user might be able to have control over?
Yes to all of those questions. Yes to all. So, like, we're headed for a wild future. I mean, wild, wild, wild. You know, cars will drive themselves. People will have super helpful humanoid help robots. And yeah, you'll be able to customize the personality, customize the voice. And really kind of the robot will kind of get to know you as well and know your preferences. You won't even have to say things because it'll just kind of understand you. I think it will get to this point where it's like, it'll be odd not to have a robot buddy. Like, you know, sort of not to have your C-3PO and, you know, R2-D2. So, yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Elon. Max here, huge fan. Thank you for hosting us. I wanted to ask you, how much integration work do you think will be needed to deploy Optimus into different types of factories, industries? Like, would you need technicians or just have them go watch? And like, how do you foresee that?
Well, I think if you fast forward a few years, it really will be quite a generalized robot. Like, say 2 years from now, like next year like this year it's still quite specific, you know, task-specific training. So to do a particular task, we have to kind of do a fair bit of training to solve that task. But over time, I think you sort of accumulate these kind of training primitives where, like, calling like walking, for example, is a training primitive. Picking something, you know, identifying an object and grabbing it would be a primitive. And these primitives are then generalized to anything. So you could say pick up a cup, pick up a shirt, fold the shirt. These things will generalize, I think, quite quickly. So I expect, probably not next year, but like in 2026, it's really the kind of thing where you could tell it to do kind of a wide range of tasks, including tasks where it has not specifically done that exact thing before, probably in, I'm guessing, 2026. So, sure.
And do you foresee a cheaper version where tasks don't require like walking, for example, or so the hardware will become a lot simpler or cheaper?
Well, we're going to focus on making just a fantastic humanoid robot at scale, and really achieving scale economies and building that humanoid robot. At very high volume, if you're really good at manufacturing, you can get the cost of
almost anything down to its constituent elements. Essentially, the weight, and if you just look at the weight of the raw materials times the value of those raw materials, excluding circuit boards, you really can say, like, if it weighs less, it's going to cost less. What I'm saying is that it's better for us to achieve very high volume with Optimus than to have a wide range of robots that have lower volume. Yeah. All right. Hi. There? Okay.
One of the best things about the recertifying of your compensation package was listening to all the positive feedback of current and former employees to what you have contributed to Tesla. In the unfortunate event that you're hit by a car not full self-driving, can you take a few minutes or a few seconds and brag on your board and the rest of your leadership to assure us that even without you, Tesla has an incredible future at $30 trillion?
Well, I think Tesla has a good future without me. I think I'm a helpful accelerant to that future. And for technology, it matters if you're ahead or not ahead a lot. So the rate of, like, what matters is not innovation, but the rate of innovation. You know, can you do in 1 year what other companies do in 2 years or 3 years? So, like, probably my, biggest, most helpful thing is an innovation accelerant. Because given enough time, the various startups that are doing humanoid robots will eventually succeed. One of them will. So what really matters is, can we be much faster than everyone else? Can our product be done a few years ahead before theirs and be better? Because if that's not the case, then they will achieve the valuation and not Tesla. They will make the valuable product, not Tesla. So, that's where I think I'm probably most useful, is accelerating the pace of technology and innovation and getting to scale. That's it mostly. But I am very much heartened by and appreciate the support of current and former Tesla employees, Tesla board, and all you guys for helping out. My heart goes out to you.
Hi, Elon. My name is Jessica, and I have lived full-time RV for about 3 years in South Texas.
Okay.
And I just wanted to thank you for your Starship, or for the Starship program and everything you're doing there. In addition to Tesla.
Do you work at SpaceX or something?
No.
Okay. Okay, but you live in an RV in South Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. And in my RV park, they don't allow car camping for Teslas or electric vehicles at all if you're not pulling a trailer. And I feel that there's a huge opportunity there, but also for example, people who are coming into town for Starship launches in Teslas, if they could park somewhere overnight in trickle charge.
Okay.
And maybe have access to, bathroom facility or just something simple like that.
Okay.
Just something I wanted to just put forward because I know that a lot of people come into the park and are disappointed they can't stay. So.
Okay, got it.
Just a thought.
All right. I'll inquire and see if there's maybe some place that would allow people to stay in their cars, which in a Tesla you really can often stay quite comfortably in a car. And charge. All right, thanks. All right, I think so. This will have to be the last question, I think, or maybe last two. Yeah. All right. So last two questions, you and you two guys. And
hey, Elon, my name is Steven. I'm truly thankful for all you've done for humanity, and watching your companies and what you've done has been the most exciting, hope-inspiring movie that there's ever been. So thank you so much. And
thank you.
Thank you. And my question today is about lithium refining. In the past, you stated that would be a limiting factor in the future. And I know Tesla has built the refinery in Texas. I was just kind of curious your current opinion about the refining. Do you think there's enough capacity coming online, or will Tesla need to expand past Texas in that regard?
There's enough lithium refining if you count China. If there's a geopolitical challenge on that front, then there may be a shortage of lithium. But China's very good at refining. So, but I think just Tesla figuring out lithium refining, understanding what it takes, and then, once we understand how it works, then we can scale it up from there. And that, I think it's pretty important to, be careful with geopolitical risk, and just make sure that if in a worst case situation, that Tesla is okay. All right, thank you. This is the last question.
Hi, Elon. Thank you. Congratulations for yet another big win. I'm Nikhil. I'm based out of Silicon Valley. And as you mentioned on FSD awareness and giving people rights, because most people, unless they really experience it, they don't quite know how safe it is becoming and how convenient it is becoming. So I built TesMe company. It's a platform for Tesla owners to offer learning experiences, FSD. And we would love to explore how we can help scale with your support and guidance. We'd love to have a follow-up conversation to discuss more details with you, how we can work together. Thank you.
I have a suggestion.
Okay, sure.
Valuation to 10 trillion.
Okay.
Can you allow me one?
Sure. You really want to ask a question?
Follow-up, please.
I'm not sure how to answer that question exactly, but I mean we are focused on improving FSD for sure, and I think the adoption will be widespread. Like when it is really working insanely well, and it's driving like a 5-star Uber driver, I think adoption will be very, very quick. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
I indeed have a really good suggestion.
Okay, what's the suggestion? Sure.
I shared this suggestion with one of your FSD team, but I don't know whether it reached you or not. Basically, as FSD keep on improving, we are not quite sure at what rate it will be improving, the march of lines. So, so a lot of skepticism remains as to when you can exactly operate the robot taxi. So it occurred to me that in between supervised FSD and robot taxi, there is something intermediate stage that's commercializable, which is what I would call a robot rental car. Okay, the idea is that you would, people would go to your platform to order a rental car, and you would deliver that overnight to the front of their driveway, and then, so the only time that that car will be driving without a person is at night with nobody, and you can take as long as you want, and you drop in the front of the car, and after that, it's supervised. So that will get you to a commercialization much sooner, much more guaranteed. So that's my suggestion.
All right, well, I appreciate the thought. I think, like I said, the progress in FSD will be really amazing. You'll see with each successive version. Like I said, the best way to think of FSD, ignore the 12, just think of the point number. We're going from version 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, and you'll see just radical improvements with each successive version. I mean, if the current trend continues, it's going to be like you will really find that you don't intervene in the course of a year type of thing. So even in complex situations. Anyway, with that, thank you very much for your support. So thanks, guys. All right.
Ready. So that was pretty fantastic stuff. I hope you can hear me. We're having just the tiniest bit of fun over here. We at one point had 8 people in here watching this. For those following along at home, Herbert is having difficulty with his camera, but he is still here joining us in spirit and in switching screens. There was 2-3 hours of content to get through. We were making notes. We were keeping track of it all. And at some point, it just becomes too much. I guess I would ask CERN, what would be your biggest takeaway, the biggest thing that impressed you, the most exciting part, and then we'll go through ours.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's validation of what we've been thinking about regarding Optimus. Even ARC did not include Optimus in their latest model. And Elon has been talking about Optimus in no uncertain terms. And what ARC decided to do in their model was just included the internal benefits of Optimus and not the external sales. I personally think that was a mistake. That's fine. They have their reasons. But Elon talked about having 1,000 to a few thousand Optimus working in Tesla next year. That's pretty incredible. And then scaling up rapidly from there. And he talked about the industry making potentially 1 billion bots per year and Tesla maybe having 10% market share, 100 million bots a year.
Genuine.
That is significant for Tesla. It's significant for the bot industry if we're talking about that kind of scale. And the fact that they're focused on this at that level is a big takeaway for me.
Absolutely agree. When he said 1 billion, of course, numbers that big are hard to wrap your head around. I get criticized because I don't like to look beyond the horizon. And one thing that Elon is very good at and has proven over and over again is his ability to look beyond the horizon, to see benefits that are hidden, sometimes in plain sight, sometimes not. We've got Herbert back. That's wonderful. And so what I was seeing was when he said 1 billion, I said, wait, you think Tesla's going to make 1 billion? And then he said, no, 10% of them. And I thought, now that 10%, you can get 10% of any new market. Yes, you can with engineers like this, with quality like this. Of course, my biggest takeaway was Elon's back, baby. This was, This was his biggest performance. This was his sharpest performance. This was the energized, excited firecracker that I've been looking for a long time.
Yeah.
Robin, what would you say, what was your big takeaways?
I loved how he got on stage, dancing, and you could really see he was like unleashed. He was like, all the emotions were coming out in the beginning. Also, his voice was a little bit like, shaking. So you could see, like what I said also in before the show. It's really a lot of emotions. It means a lot for him. And yeah, he was always talking about hardware 5 that will come in 18 months. And I'm all the time now thinking, and maybe the others can also guess, what is the product that will come out in 18 months that ships with hardware 5?
Now, I'm not going to speculate on that, but I'd love to hear everyone else's speculation. I said I would dance like that too, and I don't need 56 billion. I'll do it for $56. Still no takers. So apparently, it's not quite worth it. Biggest takeaway.
Well, these are the two slides that I thought were very important. So they showed this, right? We still have a long way to go. The world needs to replace the vehicle fleet with EVs. And this is, I think, a new slide we haven't seen before. We've seen cars hidden, but there seems to be 2 cars here that look about the same. It's almost the same carbon copy, right? You see that? And then there's something here that looks like an SUV. Looks like more to me like a boxy van. These are the 3 cars.
But very small. Coming out. But very small. If you look at the size of that Cyber van compared to the Cyber truck.
What have I been saying, Brian? I've been saying that I see this one and this one here are the low cost affordable models. This is the robotaxi. I've been saying that a robotaxi does not need to be 2 passenger cars that everybody's saying. I think it's going to be more like the London cab. It's going to be a 4 kind of big kind of experience because that gives you the most chance to have kind of like a screen and virtual reality and being able to really have a good entertainment, good feeling inside, lots of space. That could be the case. And then the other slide is just this, no longer compute constrained. I think that was the most important. It looks like the same slide though, right? This is nothing new. 35,000 NVIDIA equivalent H100s. That's what I'm assuming this means. So I don't think this is new. But anything else that we saw other than this slide, I did not hear anything that was brand new. Did you guys?
So what I wanted to point out on that slide that showed the compute explosion is that's what I mean when I say I'm good at looking at the future. I'm not good at putting a timeline on it because we know it was reasonable to assume that was coming. What was unreasonable for me to assume is when. And had a chat about that. Did you have takeaways you wanted to share?
Yeah, sure. So for me, the one one interesting takeaway was still, the compute constraint is very interesting because, of course, since then, why would Tesla offer 100? Why would Tesla offer $100 for FSD? Because now they are not compute constrained. They want to gather every data that they have, and I mean, it's incredible what FSD is capable of, and that's a big takeaway. And to the cars that you've mentioned, so my guess actually is the robotaxi will have 2 seats, will be a 2-seater, and the other one actually will be the robotaxi van kind of, and there will be a spin-off for a van model that's based on the platform of the Cybertruck that might come to Europe maybe earlier. And of course, my biggest takeaway is Cybertruck for Europe, because now, since I've tested it here in the US, and we've tested John's Cybertruck left and right, and I gotta say, I need this thing in Europe as fast as I can, or else I have to move to the US. I don't see any possibility anymore. I cannot bear it anymore. But he said probably that with minor adjustments, this thing could come out in Europe, and that's, of course, for me, I'm a little selfish on that one, but we need that thing in Europe.
I want to add something because, I was driving with Omar from the Homer's catalog, and he somehow pretty much clearly said that the Cyber Cab will be a 2-seater.
Yeah, of course. Lots of people are saying that. Everybody says it's 2-seater. I'm the only one. We'll see.
I'm saying 2-seaters. I'm with you on this one.
So he repeated several times, maybe 3 times in the entire show here. Autonomy is a $5 to $7 trillion market cap. Optimus is 20 to 25 trillion market cap. And he says, ARK Invest, I really think they're the most accurate. Søren, you've created your own robotaxi model. What were you thinking when you heard all that?
Well, it validates what I and a few others have been saying for quite a few months now, right? And and that's kind of rewarding because we've done the work, we've done the modeling, and Elon has said it. I think this is the first time he's put a number on what he thinks the company could be worth with Optimus. I think he said last year that the company would be, Optimus would be the primary value driver of the company long term. And this is the first time I've heard a particular number. My guess is that number is still pretty sandbagged, actually, as crazy as the number sounds, 25 trillion for Optimus. As you know, some of my models show a much higher valuation than that in terms of potential. I think 10% market share for Optimus is kind of silly. Although I suppose if you're factoring in all the Chinese robots, maybe 10% global market share isn't so crazy because China will probably have more than 50% of the bots in the world. And so maybe Tesla has, 20-25% of the rest of the world.
Yeah, isn't it great that he even went through and gave you the calculations? Let's say we build rate is $1 billion per year, 10% share, 100 million Optimus per year. The entire auto industry is 100 million. We can make one at cost for 10,000, less expensive than a car. Sell it for 20,000, Søren. That's a new number we've seen. Make 1 trillion profit per year from that. PE is 20 to 26, means 20 trillion from Optimus alone.
Yeah, I think the $20,000 sales price is the only thing that I would quibble with there. The work that we've done has shown that Optimus is far more valuable than that. They would be leaving money on the table if they sold Optimus for just 20,000. And in fact, if they did, I would borrow as much money as I could and buy as many Optimus robots as I could.
We're going to do that, dude. Yeah,
right.
We'll create a company. We have created a company. That's what we'll do. What did you think about when he said that the expectations of how many Optimus, right? My prediction is, so we have one major hardware revision by the end of this year, then limited production for our own factory. My prediction, he says, will be 1,000, maybe a few thousand working at Tesla next year. What do you guys think about that expectations?
I would just say very reasonable, but I'll leave it to the others to chime in.
Yashu, come on in.
How's it going, Søren, Brian, Jan, Robin, Herbert? Thanks for having me on. I hope my audio is okay. I'm using my wireless mic. Okay, good. Wow, what a call. First of all, it's great to have Elon back. You guys said this a couple minutes ago, right? He's back with his groove. I'm just personally happy to put this behind us, hopefully. Of course, there's going to be derivative things that come across from this, this being ratified again. But like the story for Tesla predominantly in the news and the media in the last month has not been around the company. It's been far from it. So I'm excited that we can again now focus on the fundamentals of the company moving forward. You guys were talking about Elon, talking about the bot valuation. I mean, I think it's quite funny that he went as far as Herbert even to give a PE. Like he really went he pretty much tried to spell this out for better or for worse. I'm not sure if that's the haters are going to say that's Elon trying to pump it up, and people like us are going to be like, well, he just pretty much put it on the back of a napkin for us to pretty much run with. So you can kind of have both sides of the story there. But man, it's exciting to finally put this behind us. And Elon, there was one question asked, I think, to Elon about, well, Elon, if you get run over by a bus, like, how can we be confident that, that Tesla's still going to execute? And his answer was pretty much like, well, I mean, I sure think they'll probably do fine, but of course I'm the accelerant. And that is Elon's true genius. Elon's true genius is to say certain things. Like Steve Jobs had this same level of, disdain almost from his employees, because you put this sort of deadline on them that's super unrealistic to the average Joe Schmo like us. You'd be like, how is this possible? It's not going to work. But you'd have this guy breathing down your neck, telling you that you need to get it done. It must happen. And for better or for worse, I mean, look at where Apple is today. Elon is the same type of leader. And, I don't know really the most exciting part of that call. I'm going to have to watch it again or watch some sort of synopsis on it, to be fair. But I'm just happy that we can talk fundamentals again.
Yeah, what I found very interesting also because we are from Germany, me and Robin, and we're witnessing everything from the European perspective here as well. So I think that's pretty important also to look at the internationalization of Tesla and what they're doing there. And I gotta tell you that it's unprecedented. We don't have a company like this anywhere near in the in Europe. And also, I mean, Robin, for example, you tested 80% of all the EVs in Europe on his channel. I mean, he is a huge influencer in Germany. So what's your take on Tesla in that comparison now?
You want to go
just
to
real quick, we got Sean in the chat. Sean from Now Teslify was at the big event and can tell us some of the magic.
Yeah, hey everybody, thank you for having me on. I just literally got out of the event. It's crazy in there. It's super hot too. So just headed to the parking lot now. But it was awesome. This is my first official Tesla event, so it was a lot of great fun. The energy leading up to the show too was awesome, and then certainly going through all the voting measures, etc., was also cool, and just obviously amazing to be there on getting our vindication for relocating to Texas and Elon's package, and then of course all the other great stuff that we saw. So awesome day. Yeah, so fun.
Now, Sean, let me ask you. It looked on the big screen like there was a lot of fun. That the energy in the room was really upbeat and awesome. What was the actual mood like? Was that it?
Yeah, absolutely. And pretty much all day too, even before, the event itself started, we had, factory tours and what have you. They set up outside, the Cybertruck pulling the Model Y in the glass case and some of their other models out there for people to look at. And then, high energy, high positivity. Everybody was it's just so cool, to not only be in that kind of aura, but also be able to share that with other folks in the community.
Well, when you leave the Model Y in the original packaging like that, it retains more value. So
that's right.
An important thing as a collector, I just thought I'd help you guys out with that. There were, now when you say the factory tour, it was final assembly, or was it more than that?
A little bit of everything. They kind of gave us a good overview of the whole process, and we got to see some pretty incredible things. I actually don't know how much detail I can go into because of the NDA I signed, but yeah, it was just really neat to see how the thing is made, right?
Wow. Very, very jealous of that. A lot of the the one shareholder meeting I was able to attend last year, we just got a glimpse of final assembly, and they were keeping a real close eye on me. I'm sure it's a coincidence, but you never know.
People were getting actually kicked out of the tour for certain things.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yeah.
you came into this stream late, but I complained about not getting $56 to dance. And of course, Kathy gave us $56. So I had to dance. So the new
Is that why you
revenue.
got your $56?
I don't know is that whose channel that came in on, but in any case, a deal's a deal. So,
I love it. Sean, what was there anything there that you were expecting that you did not hear at the actual presentation? Do you think that all the audience was absolutely happy? Of course, the vote was the most important thing. That is critical. Anything else? Did you wish you heard more about autonomy, about the bot, about anything?
Yeah, actually, I was a little surprised during some of Elon's kind of rundown of what they've achieved and kind of where they're going with FSD. I'm kind of like FSD is like my bread and butter. I'm really passionate about that, and so there wasn't a lot of excitement around his kind of progression of FSD. We got some good questions from the audience members, which was great, but Optimus seemed to be like the thing people were really excited about, and then of course the potential impact on the market cap, I think, was the other big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And a few ads in there as well for King.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
No more pitch meetings, guys. This is not what a Q&A is for.
That was terrible. Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I would have to agree.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate that. You jumped in right after you just went to the you're going to go to the big party tonight, so call in again.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, definitely.
See you at the party.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you very much, Sean, and give out greetings to Alexandra from us here in Michigan, and say hello from Jan and
Yeah.
Robin.
So I should announce right now that I'm actually going to have a big celebration space for Alexandra. She will be there tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We'll make that big announcement. So please join, come there. Let's all give her the due. I was very happy that did you see, Sean? She got the hug directly from Robin Denholm. I played that clip earlier. She got the shout out at the conference. Of course, Elon had actually already replied to her on the X. Now, acknowledged her again. I've got a video of that. I need to pull that down. But it was good, right? That people were recognized, and her specifically.
Yeah, that was another great thing. I luckily it was like a row behind her, so got to see kind of her celebratory moment, which is well deserved, right? And then it's also great that people were not only did she get kind of called out from a couple of times, right? And so it's so good to see her being acknowledged for the hard effort that she put in to really rally everybody. So again, another reason to just love like our retail investor community. So it was awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna play this and see if it plays. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Watch this. So this is. Oh, let me play that. All right, we got that. Oh, great. We got really good video. People just right in there. That was fantastic. So Yashu, you came in late. What was your thinking about the panel? What happened? Any other, anything you wanted to hear about autonomy or robot or anything else?
Well, they did drop that little Easter egg at the end, right? With that little video of, I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but it's going around Twitter now, of that little commercial of someone riding in the back seat and then pulling up the app to call the robo taxi. So there's that, Herbert. I think you can.
I didn't see it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it'll be on Twitter if you want to pull it up while I talk about it. Or maybe I can link it later. But first of all, I mean, Alexandra, she got her flowers, and I think she deserved it. There's no doubt in my mind, I think she played a pivotal role to get the retail votership out. I mean, to be fair, if anything, this exposes how difficult brokers make it for retail investors to actually have a say into what's said. But here's another tidbit that I'll pull out. What's interesting is for this to pass with this type of majority vote, and we looked at the graph yesterday, they didn't, I don't think, announce the exact percentage, nor I don't think it matters. But that probably means the likes of a Vanguard or a BlackRock, like these big institutional investors that own a lot of Tesla, must have voted, of course, in favor for this to pass. Which I'm not sure if that means Elon behind the doors is having meetings with these big institutional investors to have them on their side. But publicly speaking, I think that's quite the feat by Elon to actually convince some of these big institutional investors to vote for his package. Because and this is one, if Herbert, if you want to play it, it's not much, but. So for people in audio, it's just the Tesla app calling a robotaxi, saying 3 minutes away, you setting the climate, some lady walking out the door and getting into the back of a Tesla, playing her music, and then riding. So it's just coming soon. So this is obviously a little teaser coming into 8.8. The surprising thing is we're getting a lot of the stuff that I think they would have waited for 8.8 already. I mean, between what Elon has said, these little videos, even the shareholder deck for earnings, we've gotten a lot of this stuff. So 8.8, I'm not sure. I'll kind of open up the floor for you guys to talk about, but I'd be curious to know, like, what are we getting on 8? Are we going to get a live demo? Is it going to be approved in some sort of city? I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
8.8's a tricky one. We don't know. All I am expecting is for the unexpected. With the Cybertruck was unexpected. The Roadster was unexpected. I did see we were getting comments saying, hey, do you notice that's not on the roadmap anymore? And that's got to be frustrating for the hundreds of people, if not thousands, who paid perhaps as much as 100% to reserve it. But it's a limited production vehicle, and I don't see how it fits necessarily with the primary objectives of the company, which are always rapidly changing. When Roadster was announced, Tesla was not an AI company. It was barely a battery company. And now it is still an automotive company for sure. But all of the things we're looking at as catalysts for value are really outside the scope of selling a car to a person. There's so much more to it. It was nice to hear that they're going to continue offering free trials as major revisions to FSD are announced. And there will come a time when you'll get a 2-week demo, you'll turn it on, and you will never disengage. And then it'll expire. And then you have a choice to make. And you won't think about it. For a lot of people, they forget how good FSD is until they have to go back to full meat driving.
Meat driving is the worst.
Meat driving.
It's horrible. No.
Yeah.
Wasn't it reassuring? I think, again, 2 times in the entire event, he repeated very confidently that you're going to be able to drive a whole year without interventions. Or then he described that thing where all of his test drivers, I drive all week and no intervention. The confidence he's saying that, though, right? When somebody said, oh, I think there's this interim potential I'd like to recommend you guys to do in between, supervised driving and non-supervised driving, you should do it this way. And Elon just said, pretty well, no, I'm pretty confident we're going to get, once you see the next versions, you're going to see 10 times. It's a magnitude change. He said that each one is 10 times. So this confidence of his is pretty strong, and he repeated it several times. And so what do you guys think of those comments?
You know what, Herbert? The one thing that when you were talking about that just reminded me of when Elon said, when someone asked him about essentially remoting into the car, if there was ever a position, Elon's answer to me kind of struck me as like, okay, they're not as far ahead as like coming on this year or something? Because his answer was like, well, you know, if it comes to a point where it's in a back alley and, you know, we can't, I guess we'll have to think about potentially remoting. It was very waffly. And to me, that signals they're not at that point yet, unfortunately. Like, you know, if someone's about to launch a road taxi network, Elon, and let's say we didn't know about it, and Elon knew, I mean, he would say, yeah, our plan is to remote in that case. Like, he would have said it with this level of declarativeness that he didn't say it with. So for me, when I heard that answer, I'm like, okay, like, of course progress is being made, but it's not imminent. So 8.8 is kind of, you know, it could be an announcement for a city potentially for next year or something, but it gave me some pause, I'll say.
Yeah, there was another similar comment he made about the March of nines, the how many 9 reliability it will take, and just trying to find where I wrote that notes, but it did sound like it's still going to be a while. Like, they need to get all this compute to get to that point.
The other thing that I picked up on in Robin's comments, she said, we're setting a course to the realization of robotaxis. That kind of language, it sounds like it's a little further off than we might like it to be. Now, she's not the person I guess we're really listening to in terms of when robotaxi is ready for prime time, but still.
The thing I would say with that, the problem with teleoperators is the inability to scale. If you want to go global, how many do you need? I don't know. Infinite. You need infinite teleoperators. And my thought is, rather than if the amount of compute needed to solve this very odd case is not available in my car, instead of asking a human, why not ask Dojo? Why not ask something with 1,000 or 1,000,000 times the compute and see if it can solve it? And that's something they can test right now in the lab and in the world. But yeah, that's the big question. That's the $1 trillion question, is when is robotaxi ready? I don't have an answer.
Okay. In my notes that I took, it looks like that the one thing that I learned new was the number of bots that he expects for next year. 1,000, maybe a few thousand working at Tesla next year. He actually put a number to it for the first time. That there's going to be another major hardware revision for the bot. So I'm very happy with these numbers. This is fantastic. This is way higher than any other robot company that I spoke to, their CEOs, of how many bots they're expecting next year. These guys are moving fast. They showed you videos, and those videos, he said that that's the task that these bots are doing now, the battery placement. And it looked like it's heading in that direction. So that looked good. FSD, like I said, the confidence I thought was good, but like you guys are saying, we're not necessarily saying that it's ready to do that. He did say that the accidents, FSD accidents, he said that it's like we're safer than a human now. I think that was something he alluded to. Other than that, I think he said that Cybertruck is at 1,300 per week now. Is that news for you guys? Because we heard 1,000 before, right?
That is absolutely new news, but it fits with what we've been seeing. Those are the numbers that we expected to see from looking at the drone footage. It was believable, it was plausible, and getting that confirmation is what I wanted to hear. That made the whole 3 hours almost seem reasonable.
What about the comment that hardware 5 is coming in 18 months and that he's equivalent to the B200 class of NVIDIA? And did he say it's going to be 10 times better than that too? So, like, shocking, isn't it? That's what they expect.
I'm worried that could have an Osborne effect, because that's a very big change in a very short amount of time. And a lot of people are already—
And he gave the date. Yeah, 18 months, which is so soon.
A lot of people are already waiting for the refresh Model Y. Some in this very space right here, Herbert. But there are, but if they come out with the refresh in a year and 6 months later it's getting hardware 5, that makes it a tougher sale, I think.
I think that was more like a reference to something new. Maybe the Tesla bot is then in 18 months on hardware 5.
Maybe Gen 3 Tesla bot.
Or the Cybercab is on hardware 5 would make total sense. So
Interesting point. Maybe you can connect the two together. Hardware 5 is 18 months. Maybe the robotaxi won't be launched until 18 months. That seems a lot far.
Yeah, no, the robotaxi won't be launched before 18 months. So I think that, yeah, I'm pretty, no. The robotaxi, I think, will launch like
Okay,
20.
wait. Did you
So-
not see? He repeated several times that he believes the most accurate is ARK Invest. And ARK Invest, and I'll pull it up. They have a table that shows probability of it launching in 2025 is 56%, 30-something% in 2026. So if it's 18 months from now, that would be 2026, right? End of 2026, isn't it? Like, yeah.
I think he referred on the long-term
5 trillion
analysis of like the ARK Invest, and also that was a very good trick because he got out of this doing his own estimations because he gets problems then. So now he's referring to ARK Invest, and then he's like, oh, I just said like I think they are like quite good. So that was like a very good hack for the future. But I think next year there will be the compact car and the Model Y Juniper, the Model Y facelift, and 26 will be the robotaxi, the Cybercab.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but lots of smart people are saying it. That kind of vibe.
And then
gotcha. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. What his repeating of Uber and Airbnb? Are you guys thinking then that he might release the Airbnb part of it sooner than later, which is customers have their car, go ahead and do that while we wait for the build of the robotaxi 18 months from now?
Absolutely, I totally see that. That's for sure.
Who here says this? Who here says this? Raise your hand if you agree. First pilot is going to be customer cars, not a dedicated robotaxi.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes,
sure.
but when?
I'm the only one that says no, guys. No way. Okay.
Well, that's why we keep you around, is for a dissenting.
Alexandra and she thinks that I'm going to have to owe her a flight to Hawaii. I'll have to take them to Hawaii if I'm wrong. I just can't see Tesla releasing you as a robotaxi before they do it on their own in a small pilot with their own, maybe their own car, maybe not their robotaxi, but their own leased Model Ys that they own.
No, I agree. I will also dissent with you, Herbert, on that. I also think so. I have to jump out here in a second, but I'll leave on this. I think you have to eat your own dog food a little bit. If you're Tesla, you have to show. I mean, I could probably think of a better metaphor, but I think you have to eat your own dog food. You have to prove out the model. You have to create a white paper around it. You have to market this to cities to say we've prevented this many accidents, this many fewer drunk drivers on the road. Make a whole case study out of it in Las Vegas or in San Francisco in some district, and then use that as a white paper across the entire country to pitch different mayors or different counties or whatever it might be. Of course, they can just unleash it kind of wild, wild west, or they could go kind of the Waymo route, with Waymo partnering really with the city, within Scottsdale. And really honing in and focusing and going back and forth. A big collaboration, big collaboration is needed. Let's be honest, because something like emergency vehicles, being able to listen for that was a big thing that Waymo actually put a nice article out for. Because I was recently about to try Waymo, got sidetracked, but they had to really go back and forth on how they were going to use the emergency vehicle pulling over, and they had to prove that to the city before the city was like, we're not just going to completely can this. So I think there's still some work to be done, and the best way to do it is the same way that Tesla is doing it with the Tesla bot. They're going to use it internally first, vertically integrate, do whatever they need, prove it out as a model, and then unleash it to the consumer base. Now, that being said, I don't think this is like a multi-year, 5-year, 10-year long thing. Like, they can just do it for maybe a year or something or whatever, but it gives them that data internally. They can fix all the bugs. The first person to see the problems will be them, and then they can release the consumer level. So Herbert, I'm officially joining your camp.
Okay, Yashu, you're going to join Cyberbowl's recording, and you need to tell Alexandra, and then I do not have to pay her a flight to Hawaii. So
I do not want to fight Alexandra. Let's put that on the record. That axe behind you, Brian, will not be in good hands. If I start fighting Alexandra, she will come after me.
That's good. All right. Thank you, everybody. That was 3.5 hours. Fantastic episode. Appreciate all of you joining. Follow all the speakers here on X, on YouTube. You got Futuraza, you got Jan Tesla Fix, you got Robin TV. You got to check them out. And you got Yashu. It's hey, it's Yashu. And you got Cern at Cern Basher. If you want to check out deep dive research on Robotaxi, you'll check out his X account. He's got it all there, all free. It's all pretty deep. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Herbert.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye, everybody.